This video continues with Chapter 176, Waste. Don't waste our time. Naruto, Sunagakure Village, Prosperous Village, Strong People. Chapter 176, Waste. Don't waste our time. Chapter 176, Waste. Don't waste our time. Yashimaru, Beizu and Yikang didn't say anything, obviously watching their own performance. 9 people, you look at me, and I look at you. Gaara and Kimimaro turned their heads. The meaning was very clear. Don't come to me for this low-end game, let alone in Uchiha. Even Yuhaikira and I, the two of them had no interest in taking action. Jongwoo, a self-absorbed kid, also had no idea about the demonstration. Bai Xiaoxiao expressed her willingness to cooperate at any time. Uchiha Izumi was a little embarrassed, as if the dispute was caused by him. Xiang Ling said that although I was the one making the mockery, you can't let me, a girl, stand out. Xile Yua wanted to come out, but Temari kicked Kankuro on the butt and pushed Kankuro out. His identity as the eldest son of the Kasuke was very suitable. Kankuro looked at his sister speechlessly, not daring to have any objections. If you don't want to fight this low-end game, I don't want to fight either. By the way, Dad suppressed several people and kept his status as genin just for today, right? Several of them already have film-level strength, so there is really no sense of accomplishment in being abusing food. I pointed at Inuzuka and Aburame Shino and Hinata behind him. You 3 come together, we are in a hurry. Stop looking down on people, Saiyan Ninja. One of you and me is enough to deal with you. Inuzuka was furious, and he had reached the second stage of life return training. His strength was between the special Jounin and the Jounin. He had been going smoothly since graduating from the ninja school, and the mission was carried out without any difficulty. Ordinary genin are no match. It inevitably breeds pride. Using Toga, he spun around and attacked Kankuro. Toga's move can crush even huge rocks, but Kankuro refuses to dodge. A clay puppet emerges from the ground and Toga ignores it. A clay doll, his own Toga can break rocks. However, halfway through the earthen doll, the sand steel directly jammed in Uchiha. His body was restrained and he looked up at the sky. He was confused for a moment. What was going on with this technique? How could I be restricted? Wanted to struggle, but the sand steel entered his flesh and blood in an instant, and Inuzuka screamed in pain. Pet Akamaru was the first to rush forward. Aburame Shino said, "Let go of your teeth." Hinata also prepared an attack stance. The two of them did not expect that Ye was subdued in an instant. The person who came here was not exaggerating in asking the 3 of them to come together. Then don't blame the 2 for being rude. Countless bugs flew out of Aburame Shino's body, instantly surrounding Kankuro. Akamaru immediately merged with his teeth to form a 2-headed wolf, and broke free from the control of the earth puppet. Seeing the bugs sent out by Aburame Shino, Temari, Karin, and Izumi instantly felt that they were right not to take action. Although a few people were not afraid, bugs of this size were still too disgusting for girls. Although Kankuro was surrounded by insects, Aburame Shino's face wearing sunglasses was not happy, but became more and more solemn. Because in the insect's perception, what the insect bites is not people but steel. Fire escape, scorching body. Under the siege of insects, Kankuro glowed red and then made the sound of chichichi as the insects were burned to death. Aburame Shino immediately controlled the insects to retreat, but countless insects were still directly burned to death or even vaporized. Kankuro's steely body was revealed, emitting a high-temperature red light. It was a move developed by Kankuro himself. Because he could not awaken a Gundam like Rasa, nor could he always use it as a brother and sister combination, Kankuro achieved his own awakening and turned his body into steel. Super Fang Wolf Fang. Seeing that Shino was defeated, Inuzuka transformed into a 2-headed wolf and used a super speed spin. Giant Earth Puppet. Kankuro summoned a huge earth puppet, wrapped himself up, held the 2-headed wolf transformed by Inuzuka in a bear hug, and then exploded internally. In Yuzuka Kiba and Akamaru were thrown out and passed out tooth. Hinata ran forward. Shino Aburame stood in front of the two of them. When he was at his wit's end, a shadow quickly wrapped around Genkuro's earthen doll and instantly froze Genkuro. Shadow mimicry. Hinata immediately shouted happily, Shikamaru, Choji and Ino. Today is the day when Asuma's TH class and Yuhai Kurenai's TH class have a dinner together. They can't wait and wait, so Asuma brings his disciples to look for him. He sees Kankuro knocking in Yuzuka Kiba unconscious scene. Shikamaru directly used the shadow imitation technique to restrain Kankuro's giant clay doll body. One after another, does Konoha like to bully the minority so much? The puppet's body dispersed. Kankuro looked at Shikamaru who was attacking him with disdain. He suddenly broke away and Shikamaru's shadow imitation technique was torn directly from the middle. Just kidding, how can the shadow imitation technique restrain me, mister? Kankuro. Shikamaru spat out a mouthful of blood. With eyes full of disbelief. Even Asuma-sensei couldn't forcefully break away from his shadow imitation technique. This required strength at least 10 times his own. Choji directly used a meat bomb chariot, and Ino cooperated with using the mind and body technique to immobilize Kankuro. Temari sighed, one after another. A large iron fan condensed out of thin air and the wind escaped. In an instant, there were 4 strong winds, and a tornado rolled up Choji, wrapping Ino in it with unabated force, and blew it directly into the sky. The 2 people who fell to the ground fainted with circles in their eyes. Kurenai, Yuhai, and Asuma were dumbfounded. You must know that the 6 people from class and class are also in the Chunin examination team. They are also the legitimate sons and daughters of the 6 major families with the same resources and talents. Waiting for one's existence, they jointly attacked, but they were easily defeated by the 2 people, and they didn't even use their full strength. Obviously they are just teasing a few people. Yuhai Kurenai and Asuma stood in front of their students. Asuma said, "Don't you guys think it's too much for Sunagakure?" Kankuro chuckled, "You are the one who wants to beat me, and you are the one who loses. Now that I'm beating the little one, you are the one who refuses to admit it. If you are not convinced, you can also go in." These words were a bit hurtful, and both Yuhai Kurenai and Asuma were a little embarrassed. However, after all, they were elite Jonins leading the team, and they had shadow-level strength. It would be a joke to stand up for the students. Look at Yashimaru, Mamizu and Heikura. Children are done playing. Why don't we compete? Yashimaru and Haikuzu didn't answer. Although they were not afraid of Yuhai Kurenai and Asuma, they were really not as strong as the children on the field. Even if they won, they wouldn't be so straightforward. When they didn't take action, Kimimaro moved. He was already a little impatient and attacked the 2 of them directly. Asuma and Kurenai dodged repeatedly, and the next moment there were 2 bone spurs in front of their eyes. 1 centimeter more, and their eyes would be completely destroyed. Trash, don't waste our time. Asuma and Yuhai Hong turned around and left, their faces livid. They were defeated by a child so simply. Is Sand Hidden Village so powerful? End of this chapter. Chapter 177 Someone Quits the Chunin Exam. Chapter 177 Someone Quits the Chunin Exam. Lord Rasa. The above is the recent mission report and what happened in Konoha today. Yi Kang reported the situation of the 9 people to Rasa. Rasa nodded and did not care about the conflict with Konoha. He just criticized Kankuro. Kankuro, you are just a few Konoha genin. You want to reveal all your trump cards? You can obviously use the puppet to self-destruct to quickly resolve the battle, so why are you so cool? Kankuro, father, I know I was wrong. Kankuro decisively admitted his mistake. His father was right. He underestimated the enemy too much and wanted to show off. As a result, he couldn't control the force and used too much force. The most correct solution is to expose yourself with a clay doll from the beginning. When we come to Konoha this time, we are showing the enemy secretly, so we try not to reveal our trump cards and be targeted by others. Then I will probably face the siege of 2 immortals, and I will not be able to take care of you. Although you all have at cage level strength. But Konoha's reputation as the #1 in the ninja world for so many years is not for nothing. Especially with the support of Miyamu Mountain and Ujai Cave, many people have mastered the Senjutsu mode and are not weak in strength. It is good for you to be arrogant, but you cannot be arrogant. Hearing Rasa say that Konoha is so powerful, Kimimaro was a little puzzled and said, Lord Rasa, in this case we might as well launch a surprise attack and destroy Konoha village. Kimimaro doesn't take Konoha's strength seriously. As long as he joins forces with Gaara, Hagura, and Zai, and uses a few range ninjutsu, Konoha will definitely be gone. Luo Sha smiled and shook his head, and said to Jugo, destroying Konoha is too easy, I can do it myself. But what I need is NT. Miyamu. If I destroy Konoha directly, NT. Miyamu will definitely escape. If my guess is correct, the battlefield this time will most likely be empty. Mayaboku. As long as Sandai is forced into a desperate situation, he will definitely seal away the zombies and summon the god of death, and then Jugo can be restored. Chongwu said a little embarrassedly, Lord Luo Sha, actually I don't need to recover. It's good like this now. What if I want you to recover? Chongwu said seriously, then I will definitely live up to Master Luo Sha's expectations. Very good, so this time is a test for you. I can't take care of you at the same time, but just like last time in the Shigibone Forest, I will leave a placer gold clone in your body. Once the placer gold clone is used, you will immediately leave the battlefield, you know? Kimimaro said, Lord Luo Sha, I don't need your placer gold clone. You should save your strength to deal with the 2 immortals. From Kimimaro's point of view, if he could be forced to use the placer gold clone, he might not be able to escape. Luo Sha rubbed Kimimaro's hair, and Zin, now my placer gold clone is not on the same level as Shigilin Forest. It's best if you don't use it. Once activated, it can take you away from the battlefield instantly. In fact, your own strength, even if you attack at the peak of the shadow level, you may not be able to subdue it, but you should be prepared. Kimimaro is still too straight. It wouldn't be embarrassing if someone else wanted you if you didn't want him. But refusing for the sake of face would be irresponsible for your own life. With his current strength and the twist of electromagnetic force, he can instantly make the placer gold clone lead people away from the battlefield like a divine power. Not everyone is Kimimaro. Even though Yashimaru is cage level, he is still very weak. When Luo Sha said this, everyone no longer refused. Just use all your strength to crush Konoha. Even Yashimaru has realized that if Asuma and Kurenai are at the same level today, he will not lose against them. At this time, Kurenai and Asuma were describing today's events to Sandai. They were not surprised to hear that Kinkuro was able to fight 1 against 5 with ease. After all, he was also Rasa's biological son, so it was not surprising that he was being focused on training. But after hearing that Asuma and Kurenai were subdued by Kimimaro's move, they couldn't calm down. Grandpa, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I just can't bear to hear them looking down on Konoha. Konohamaru also knew that he had caused trouble and had already been taught a lesson by Asuma. So he apologized seriously at this moment. I've heard about the process. Is it Konohamaru's fault? Not weirder, my skills are inferior to others. Konohamaru may have a bit of a young man's temper, but his nature is not bad. He used to be reluctant to let go. This time, after learning a lesson, it may not be a bad thing for Konohamaru. Okay, Grandpa knows. Konohamaru should practice hard and try to defeat those ninjas from Sunagakure village as soon as possible. Konohamaru nodded heavily. I will definitely do it, Grandpa. Signaling Ebisu to take Konohamaru away. Then he called the Ambu and said, Go to the Sand Hidden Village station and express my apology to Kazgage. Saruto by Hiruzen and Asuma were not angry when they were beaten on their own territory and had to apologize, but the situation was stronger than the person, so this process had to go. Therefore, the plan to surround Luo Sha must be carried out. We only made plans for Gaara. It seems Kimimaro needs to make plans as well. Konoha, the strong man of Sunagakure, knows too little. So far, only Scorpio, Heikura, and Gaara are known to be certain cage level, while Maki, Mimizu, and Yeshimaru cannot be sure. In the past, the reputation of ninjas was achieved through fighting, but the existence of Luo Sha made the strength of Sunagakure village confusing, and no one would be stupid enough to verify it for themselves. So the plan is not sufficient. Fortunately, the venue for the decisive battle is Miyamu Mountain, and those toads will never sit idly by. Asuma, have Iwagakure, Kirigakure, and Kumagakure responded to us? Asuma shook his head. No, they mean that even if they want to target Rasa, they have to wait until the Otsutsuki clan invades. Otherwise, who will resist them? Hiruzaru Sarutobi sighed helplessly. It was originally agreed upon, but Luo Sha threw out an ancient secret. Although Iwagakure, Kirigakure, and Kumagakure did not reach a consensus, the original agreement to besiege Luo Sha was changed to wait and see. They can wait, but Konoha can't wait any longer. Miyaboku Mountain and Iuchi Cave have been urging them. Besides, if the delay continues, God knows to what extent Rasa's strength will increase. But now that I'm in Konoha, it's not easy to get out of things. As long as you provoke a conflict between the candidates from the 3 major shinobi villages and Sunagakure village during the exam, do you think you can make it clear at that time? Anyone who is afraid of Luo Sha's pursuit will have to take action together. With the arrival of Gaara and others from Sunagakure village, the personnel for the Chunin examination were finally gathered together, and the Chunin examination officially started on the 3rd day. However, looking at the empty teams in the venues of Iwagakure, Kirigakure, and Kumagakure, Saruto by Hiruzen intuitively felt something was wrong. Sure enough, the next moment, that Tsuchikage and Reikage signaled, and Mizukage Terumi stepped forward and said, Hokage-sama, in order to deal with the crisis mentioned by Rasa-sama, our 3 major ninja villages decided to withdraw from this time in order to prevent accidents. 5 major ninja villages joint Chunin exam. End of this chapter. Chapter 178 Tailed Beast Space can still be used in this way. Chapter 178 Tailed Beast Space can still be used in this way. Saruto by Hiruzen was shocked and caught off guard. When did Iwagakure, Kirigakure, and Kumagakure reach a consensus? The Anbu who have been responsible for monitoring the Tsuchikage, Mizukage, and Reikage did not send back a message saying that the 3 of them met alone. It is impossible that the decision was made in one meeting just now. The time is too short, and it is simply impossible. You must know that the 3 people's decision means telling Saruto by Hiruzen that we will withdraw from your Konoha siege plan this time. Also clearly tell Luo Sha that our 3 major ninja villages fully support your plan, willing to join forces to fight against Kaguya and the Otsutsuki clan, and give up fighting against Sunagakure village. The question is, how did you 3 major ninja villages reach an agreement, and why don't you ask me Konoha's opinion? The most important thing is, have you told Luo Sha about the siege plan? Saruto by Hiruzen's back felt cold, and he stiffly turned his head to look at Rasa. Rasa didn't look shocked. He was obviously aware of the withdrawal of the 3 major ninja villages, but he didn't show any hostility towards Konoha. Did you tell Luo Sha about the siege plan? Not only Saruto by Hiruzen was shocked, but Koharu, Maidokaden, and Danza secretly were also covered in cold sweat. Saruto by Hiruzen tried to make a final struggle. Are you sure about the Tsuchikage, Mizukage, and Reikage? The candidates have already come. Wouldn't it be a pity to withdraw now? This kind of joint examination of the 5 major ninja villages has been rare in decades. It is valuable experience. If we are afraid of being injured, we can prohibit heavy blows, and we in Konoha can send additional personnel to observe the whole process. Knowing that the attitude of Mizukage and Reikage had not been firm, Saruto by Hiruzen looked at Tsuchikage Anoki. Tsuchikage waved his hand and said, "No need. In fact, our candidates have just left Konoha. After all, this is a major event involving the entire ninja world. Now that the decision has been made, there is no need to worry." The Tsuchikage seemed to be answering the question of the third Hokage's Chunin exam, and he was also firmly expressing his position. "We won't get involved in your Konoha affairs." At this time, Ambu entered the scene and made gestures with the third generation. Saruto by Hiruzen saw that this meant a large-scale evacuation of the three great ninja villages. The three major ninja villages clearly expressed their neutrality. If I pressed them again, they would probably confess to Luo Sha. Saruto by Hiruzen didn't understand that the three great ninja villages were just sitting back and enjoying their gains. Seeing that both Konoha and Sunagakure village would suffer losses, they could pick up the slack if they succeeded, and they could make a good deal with Rasa if they lost. It can be said that neither side loses. However, what Saruto by Hiruzen didn't know was that the Mizukage and Reikage were Rasa's people from the beginning, and yesterday's contact was initiated by the Tsuchikage. The reason why he was not discovered by Konoha was because he used a method that only a few ninja villages could use to contact the tailed beast space. Gaara was surprised to find last night that the tailed beast space was awakened after a long absence, and the person who sent the contact was the Jinchuriki Han of the Five-Tailed Mu King. Named to contact Gaara, not only Five Tails and Han, but also Six Tails and Yugao, as well as Eight Tails and Kurabi. 3 people said that the 3 shadows wanted to talk to Rasa. After the 3 perfect examples of Jinchuriki, the 2 Tails, the 8 Tails, and Gaara, except for Konoha's 9 Tails, the Jinchuriki of other villages have basically reached an initial harmonious coexistence with the tailed beasts. Even Naruto was trying to build a friendship with Kyuubi. Therefore, the once abolished tailed beast space has gradually been restored to use, but this is the first time it has been used for secret conversations. Iwagakure, Kirigakure, and Kumagakure also know that there is Konoha construction outside. Once a few people meet, Konoha will find ways to deal with and stop it, but the tailed beast space is different. No one except the tailed beast can monitor it. The relationship between the 9 tails and Konoha is at odds, and the remaining ones are in the 4 great ninja villages. Although the 3 tails and the 7 tails were captured, they have been absorbed by the heretic demons, and there is no need to worry about being monitored. Long before contacting Gaara, the 5 tails, 6 tails, and 8 tails had already had a small meeting. Since it involves the entire ninja world, the 3 major ninja villages attach great importance to it. Kirigakure and Kumagakure are true allies with Sunagakure. The only one who is uncertain is Iwagakure village. However, after careful consideration, Yenian village did not want to become an enemy of Luo Sha. Although the strength of Yenian village has increased greatly after practicing immortality, there are still too few real geniuses, and they still cannot change the current situation of Yenian village's lack of talent. Although there are many ninjas, there are still too few masters. Although Sunagakure village is indeed eyeing it nearby, after several years of development, Sunagakure village has not revealed its ambition to dominate the ninja world. Instead, through the development of science and technology, the trade between Iwagakure village and Sunagakure village has begun to increase. Iwagakure village is not Konoha. It was stepped on by Uchiha Madara in the early years and is not that resistant to surrender. Compared to Uchiha Madara, Rasa is not too good. And after all, the situation in Yanian village got better after Luo Sha's life was returned. Since Rasa has been planning for so long and is still the #1 master in the ninja world, no matter whether Kaguya is resurrected or Otsutsuki invades, Rasa will definitely be the first to rush forward. In this case, after conspiring with Konoha to plot against Rasa, should we do it ourselves? After taking the initiative to contact Kirigakure and Kumagakure, he asked the 2 villages for their opinions in a tentative manner. Terumi Mei and Ai were both shocked. In addition to the 5 major ninja villages, Konoha has basically reached a consensus. What else does Konoha plan? So they started talking to Luo Sha together. Luo Sha also thought it was funny, but the ninja world was still much clearer, unlike Konoha, who didn't give up on plotting against him. Master Kazvij, after my proposal, our 3 major ninja villages are determined to cooperate with you to protect the ninja world. Onoki expressed his goodwill through Han, meaning that today's peace talks were brought about by himself. Terumi Mei and AI were speechless for a while. Compared to your repeated jumps, we have long been our own people. Luo Sha did not criticize, and replied through Gaara, you are worthy of being the shadows of the 3 great ninja villages, and you are still responsible. Tsuchikage continued, Master Kazkage, if that's the case, why don't you leave too? They will definitely not dare to stop you. If you stay, even though you are very powerful, I'm afraid that Konoha has been the #1 in the ninja world for so many years. There will be some unforeseen consequences. Over the past few decades, the 4 major ninja villages have had the upper hand for a short period of time, but they have always been overturned by Konoha. This was the case in the 3 great ninja wars. However, even Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara are no match for Rasa, so there should be no mistakes this time. Even if Konoha uses the dirt to reincarnate again, it won't be enough for Luo Sha. Luo Sha replied, I understand the concern of several people, but this time I have my own plans. Without the cooperation of several people, Konoha will not be afraid of me. If the Tsuchikage hadn't woken up in time and followed Konoha to the dark side, then the existence of Iwagakure village would have been a problem. It's not that Luo Sha has to go into danger alone, but now the improvement of the system has reached the limit, and the remaining improvements need to be mastered through actual combat. Now the only people in the ninja world who are qualified to be his opponents are the 2 great immortals, Liu Dao and Kaguya. Moreover, as long as we gain control of the 2 holy places, the weight of the Earth Guardian will reach 40%, and it is necessary to fight against the 6 paths. End of this chapter. Chapter 179, The Long Lost Meeting. Chapter 179, The Long Lost Meeting. The weight of the Guardian of the Ninja World is now 20% of Rasa, and the 2 holy places each account for 10%. However, the 2 immortals as betrayers cannot use it. Naruto and Sasuke, as the reincarnations of Asura and Indra, each have occupying 10%. There is also 40% of Sage of 6 Paths. If you want to fight against the 6 paths, the weight of the 2 holy places must be regained. The weight of the Guardian is related to the control of the ninja world. Although Rasa only has 20%, after entering the 6 paths level, he can already fully use it, just like Naruto preventing Kai's death. It is not only a manifestation of the strength of the 6 paths level, but also the blessing of the Guardian's weight. Naturally, the more the better. Since Lord Kazkage has made arrangements, we won't stop it. If something unexpected happens during the Chunin exam, we will help. That's why the 3 major ninja villages began to lead the evacuation of the Chunin exams. Saruto by Hiruzen's face was livid. This time, because it was the joint Chunin exam of the 5 major ninja villages, and secretly because of Rasa's plan, the small ninja village was not invited to participate at all. Now that I have gone to the 3 major ninja villages, what else is there to take exams for? What Saruto by Hiruzen thought about was that the 3 great ninja villages were sitting on the mountain and watching the tiger fight, but in fact they were already in an offensive and defensive alliance with Rasa. Luo Sha said with great regret, Hokage-sama, if you look at this situation, let's just forget about the Chunin exam this time. Saruto by Hiruzen panicked all of a sudden. I have made all the arrangements. The exam is cancelled. What a joke. However, under the current situation, there is no point in continuing the examination. In fact, the joint Chunin examination of the 5 major ninja villages is, to put it bluntly, a gimmick. Why should the ninja level assessment of each ninja village come to Konoha for assessment? It's just a performance for each to show off their muscles. You can't say Konoha is unqualified and other ninja villages really won't promote their own ninjas. Saruto by Hiruzen and others were anxious, but Rasa didn't care, and said in a desperate manner, "But since we are all prepared, it is not good to just cancel it. After all, Konoha has tried its best." Saruto by Hiruzen nodded repeatedly. "Lord Rasa is right," Luo Sha said. "Anyway, there aren't many people coming to our Sunagakure village. Forget about the cumbersome competition ahead. Let's change it to a competition between our two villages. The Hokage can prepare a difficult venue." Saruto by Hiruzen was instantly overjoyed. In this way, it only needs to be arranged in Miyamu Mountain, which saves time. "Don't worry, Lord Luosha, we will definitely prepare a venue where the talents of the two village ninjas can be displayed. Please wait a moment, Master Luosha, I will prepare it now." The scale of the ninja village has changed from 5 to 2, and the format has also changed to a competition. Saruto by Hiruzen did not dare to delay any longer and started preparations immediately. Taking advantage of this moment, the ninjas from the two villages in the audience also dispersed. Sasuke couldn't wait to find Izumi. "Sister Quan, are you okay?" When Quan saw Sasuke, he was in a trance again, and vaguely seemed to see the shadow of Itachi. Although Itachi had problems with what happened back then, Sasuke shouldn't be blamed. He smiled and said, "Yes, Sasuke. It's been a long time. I'm fine. How about you?" Sasuke's face darkened. "I'm okay. I'm sorry for what happened back then. It's all my brother's fault." Quan Wenwen said, "Silly boy, since you also said it was Itachi's problem, what does it have to do with you? Don't put so many shackles on yourself. The Sunagakure tribe doesn't blame you." Sasuke felt even more uncomfortable. "Don't talk about Sister Izumi like that. What my brother and father did, our family is sorry for Uchiha." Quan continued to explain, "In that case, Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Obito are even more sorry for Uchiha. They are them, you are you. Sasuke, don't always be so melancholy no matter how old you are." Sasuke then smiled. Although the elders in the clan also said so, Sister Quan finally said it and made Sasuke feel more relaxed. Ever since he learned about his father and brother's decision, Sasuke always felt guilty. However, the reminiscence between the two was quickly interrupted. In Uzukakiba, Abirame Shino, Shikamaru and Akamichi Choji gathered around. The two teams besieged one of them and failed, so naturally they couldn't deal with each other. In Uzukateba said, "I say Sasuke, are you from Konoha or Sunagakure village? I really think Konoha is not good, so why don't you go to Sunagakure village?" Sasuke frowned. The same words had been said over the years, but today they were particularly harsh. Seeing this, Sakura quickly stepped forward and said, "Yes, Sasuke is just catching up with his old sister. He ran away while talking. Aren't all Uchiha like this?" Shikamaru watched the excitement and didn't think it was a big deal. Thanks to Rasa back then, Mizuki had spared no effort in guiding Shikamaru over the years. Now Shikamaru was like a scumbag, and he had already been listed as a target to stay away from by parents with daughters in Konoha. Even Ino's father warned Ino many times to stay away from Shikamaru. If it weren't for Ino Shikacho's friendship, he wouldn't want to form a new team. Shikamaru had long been resentful of Sasuke, who was always being pursued because of his handsome appearance. As for yesterday's incident, several people finally investigated it and found that the source was Uchiha, which was just a good time to vent their anger. His eyes turned into three Magatama. Sasuke said coldly, "Shikamaru still has teeth. Are you looking for a fight?" In Uzukakiba was not afraid at all. "Look, just say it. You will beat one of your own before anything happens. The exam hasn't started yet. Please don't fight." Xiaolai, wearing a green training uniform, pushed away two groups of people, his thick eyebrows and big eyes shining brightly. Naruto also frowned and said, "Shikamaru and Kiba, you are almost done. Do you really want us, team, to take action?" The childhood friendship had faded as Shikamaru drifted apart, and now Naruto was a genius no less than Minato, beating all the genin of Konoha. There is also Jiraiya, one of the Konoha Sannin, as a teacher. Everyone dared to bully Sasuke, but they didn't dare to go too far towards Naruto. Because when he first came back, Jiraiya found that Naruto was isolated and approached the big families of Konoha one by one. From then on, the big families did not dare to isolate Naruto. Okay, Naruto, I'll give you some face. Envious Uchiha said harsh words. And you Sunagakure, what happened yesterday will not be forgotten like this. I say you guys, with your provocations over and over again, do you really think that we Uchiha are easy to bully? It was Quan who spoke. Envious Uchiha and others found it funny and did not take Izumi seriously. After all, Izumi was just a ninja who only ran errands in Konoha a few years ago. However, the next moment, Izumi's eyes quickly rotated, turning into 3 Magatama and then into a kaleidoscope in the shape of a flower. Several people wanted to laugh, but they were all frozen and fell into a fantasy. Although Izumi is best at illusions, it is a kaleidoscope after all, and it is not easy to deal with weaklings like Envious Uchiha. Envious Uchiha and Shikamaru looked dumbfounded, and the next second liquid flowed down their crotches. Izumi then lifted the kaleidoscope. The two of them instantly felt a chill down below, looked down and ran away. 1 chapter is due. Too much work on the first day of work during the holidays. Feel sorry. End of this chapter. Chapter 180 Luo Sha is not as good as you think. Chapter 180 Luo Sha is not as good as you think. Kaleidoscope. The new generation of ninjas in the audience did not understand what it meant, but the older generation of Konoha ninjas on the stage knew the meaning behind it. Cage level, Susanna, the strong one. There is no weak person who awakens to the kaleidoscope. Has the Uchiha's kaleidoscope been used too much in recent years in the past few decades? Except for the Uchiha Madara brothers, even the genius Uchiha mirror has not been opened. In the past 10 years, Uchiha Shisui, Uchiha Itachi, Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Obito have come to the Uchiha Spring. You must know that after the kaleidoscope is turned on, although Susanoo will be turned on, the derived abilities are different. For example, Shisui is a Betsugami, Itachi is Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu, and Obito is Kamui. Other gods can change people's will without being noticed. Amaterasu cannot be extinguished, and no one can resist it except Yakura. Kamui is a magical escape technique. No one except Rasa has been able to catch Obito. Even someone as strong as the 4th generation died under Kamui. But now they are all in Luo Sha's collection. Sasuke looked at Izumi's kaleidoscope with envy. He didn't know if he would ever turn on the kaleidoscope. And then Izumi's control of the kaleidoscope was reported to the 3rd generation Hokage Saruto by Hiruzen, who was holding a meeting with Konoha elites. Almost all of Konoha's high-end combat power is gathered here, including Hiruzen Sarutobi, Koharu, Maido Kaden, and Danzo Shimura, and other Konoha F4s, as well as Akimichi Takafu, who is at the same time as the 4. Next were the 2 Sannin, Jiraiya and Tsunade. Finally, there are the heads of the 6 major families including Hinata Hinashi, Akimichi Choza, Nara Shukaku, Yamanaka Kaiichi, Envious Uchiha, and Aburame Shiwei, as well as Anbu ministers Kakashi, Metgai, Sarutobi Asuma, Kurenai Yuhai, Shiranui Genma, and so on. Although many people are elite Jounin, they have advanced to the shadow level by practicing senjutsu. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at everyone and was very pleased. This is the foundation of Konoha, which was once the #1 ninja village. No matter how strong your Sunagakure village is, it only has 2 or 3 strong people including Rasa, Zia and Yikang. Not to mention other ninja villages. It was in the past and it should be in the future. Not many people in the field knew the truth behind the siege and killing of Rasa. Look at each other, I look at you. In such a big battle, all the elite combat forces of Konoha are obviously trying to cause trouble. Jiraiya and Tsunade both sighed secretly. They were not willing to participate in politics, but there was no need to talk about the current situation. There is only one person in the current ninja world who can gather all the masters in Konoha to go all out. Rosa. It was obviously not a hasty arrangement, so this so-called Chunin exam was arranged for Rasa from the beginning. Tsunade was originally very angry at Rasa, but since she believed Rasa's explanation, her anger has subsided. Besides, others don't know that he knows his grandfather, and even the dirt cannot be defeated easily. Even if he practiced immortality now, he would never be a match for his grandfather, let alone defeat his grandfather's Luo Sha. Besides, Rasa has already said that he will unite the entire ninja world to fight against the Otsutsuki clan, and Konoha is still plotting against Rasa. Who will take the lead in dealing with Otsutsuki? Don't say Konoha can't succeed. So what if it can succeed? Konoha does not have the strength to crush the ninja world like Rasa. Of course, the overall strength is not weak, but the other ninja villages are not convinced. At that time, they will just do their own thing as before. Jiraiya didn't want to run into Rasa. He and Rasa got along quite well while chatting with Ikaraku Ramen. Moreover, with the bearing of the strongest man, Otsutsuki's incident should not have been made up. She is so responsible, why should we hold back? Jiraiya said directly, "Teacher, your arrangement is aimed at Sunagakure village. With all due respect, it is not wise to target Rasa now." God Rasa, as the strongest person in the ninja world, took the initiative to provoke a fight. Otsutsuki's responsibility. If we Konoha does this, we may become a public enemy of the ninja world. If you insist on having your own way, I will take Naruto out of Konoha. Tsunade gave Jiraiya a manly look and then said, "I don't agree with targeting Rasa either, so I'm quitting too." Saruto by Hiruzen was angry. "You two are my students after all, and others haven't said anything yet. Why don't you take me as a teacher seriously when you don't give me face? Fortunately, I didn't tell you the plan in advance. Otherwise, if the three great ninja villages didn't tell Luo Sha, you two would definitely betray me." Jiraiya and Tsunade started first, and everyone else present also expressed their opinions. Yes, since Luo Sha takes the initiative to fight against the Otsutsuki clan, let him go. Maybe both the Otsutsuki clan and the Otsutsuki clan will suffer losses, and we can still gain an advantage. It won't be too late to plot against Sunagakure village at that time. Yes, if we act now, both Konoha and Sunagakure will suffer losses, and other ninja villages will take advantage. This is not a worthwhile deal. Rasa's move that shattered the meteorite 5 years ago hit Konoha. Can we catch it? Compared with Uchiha Madara's meteorite, Rasa's move with the electromagnetic gun is more powerful. There was a lot of discussion, but what everyone wanted to express was very simple, and they did not agree with the plan to surround and kill Luo Sha. Are you kidding me? Surrounding and killing Luo Sha is simply a thankless task. Luo Sha's strength has allowed him to reach the top of the ninja world by stepping on one strong man after another in the past. Although everyone has cultivated to the shadow level, they also know that they are no match for Luo Sha. Moreover, Jiraiya and Tsunade both said that it would be hard for us to express our opinions to Konoha F4. Although we let Asuma and Kiranai take care of our children, we just don't want to offend you Hiruzen Sarutobi. Besides, Hiruzen Sarutobi made a good plan and let our children support Asuma to become Hokage in the future. But that will still be more than 10 years away. And you, the third generation, are already old. Jiraiya and Tsunade have declared themselves unintentional Hokage. Orochimaru has defected, and now that our strength has reached the cage level, how can the next Hokage be qualified to compete? After being repeatedly denied by everyone, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at his two disciples, Jiraiya and Tsunade, even more dissatisfied. Then he said, "Everyone, you are thinking too simply. With Rasa's strength and the help of the goddess behind him, Sunagakure village will only completely replace Konoha and become the strongest ninja village. and Rasa's current strength has surpassed after defeating the first Hokage and Uchiha Madara. If they continue to grow, will they become eternal existences like the Sage of Six Paths? Are you sure you want to keep watching? Now is the last chance. Being blessed by the two holy places, everyone in Konoha already knows the benefits. If you are always overwhelmed by Luo Sha, you will indeed not be happy. Jiraiya still objected. Teacher, the past calculations were just for the interests of the ninja village. There is nothing wrong with us fighting for the interests of Konoha, but now Rasa's fight against Otsutsuki is related to the safety of the ninja world. At this time, I still don't agree with Luo Sha's plot. Tsunade nodded even more appreciatively. Ife Herzen sneered. You and Tsunade are still young. Do you really think that Luo Sha is selfless for the sake of the ninja world? To tell you the truth, in fact, the Six Paths Sage has already made arrangements. On the surface, Luo Sha is doing it for the ninja world. In fact, it is to seize control of the ninja world. End of this chapter. Chapter 181I, The Toad Immortal, will personally take action. Chapter 181I, The Toad Immortal, will personally take action. Everyone was stunned when they heard Saruto by Hiruzen's word seize control of the ninja world. How to capture this intangible thing? Ask yourselves, who would pay the price of their life for a completely unrelated person and spread the natural energy cultivation method to the entire ninja world without asking for anything in return? Think about the first half of Luo Sha's life. Even his own children, how could he seems to be a different person? His strength has also jumped from an ordinary cage level to the strongest in the ninja world. The first half of Luo Sha's life was no secret. Although he was a talented person in Sand Hidden Village and had mastered magnetic release, he was not the kind of existence that you can fill in now. Although Shukaku was able to suppress Shukaku, it was only through the favorable location and placer gold that he restrained Sanako. His ability in group combat was terrifying, but his individual ability was not outstanding. Now, his strength has suddenly increased greatly, and his magnetic escape is more powerful than wood escape and Sharingan. Don't think that we owe Luo Sha a lot of favors after practicing life restitution. That's because Luo Sha doesn't know how to get the will of the ninja world to be recognized. After consulting with the Toad Sage of MT, Mayaboku, natural energy originally only existed in the three holy lands. The ninja world is very rare. Because natural energy is very violent, everyone here has also been to Mayamu Mountain. You know that people who practice natural energy will be petrified if they are distracted. The same is true for Yuchai Cave and Sheik Forest. Natural abilities are very uncontrollable. But Luo Sha unexpectedly mastered the method of controlling natural energy and received guidance from the former goddess. Everyone think about it. Did Luo Sha take the initiative to reveal the return of life to the ninjutsu world to the entire ninja world? With the cultivation of the entire ninja world, the natural energy of the ninja world has now become extremely rich. It is also because of this that Luo Sha obtained the will of the earth. Yes, that's why the strength has grown so fast. I only recently learned that there is a will in the world. As long as you get more affirmation of the world's will, the more benefits you will get. You only see Luo Sha's bravery and righteousness, resisting the invading Otsutsuki clan for the sake of the ninja world. In fact, Luo Sha Suna wants to replace the Sage of Six Paths and become the new god of the ninja world. In one breath, he shared the information obtained from Toad Immortal, which was actually a lie, to everyone. As expected, everyone was shocked again. Is there such an unknown secret behind it? Jiraiya was not sure. Teacher, is everything you said true? Saruto by Hiruzen said angrily. Otherwise, do you think Rasa is a born saint, so selflessly contributing to the ninja world? What have you been doing so long ago? But even so, wouldn't it be good for Luo Sha to face the Otsutsuki clan? I'm confused. If Rasa destroys the invading Otsutsuki, he can truly replace the Six Paths Sage. At that time, he will become the new god of the ninja world and will be immortal forever. Do you bet that Rasa will be kind at that time? Treat every ninja village fairly. Everyone was silent, not afraid of a strong man weighing on their head for decades, but if it was for eternity, forget it. Saruto by Hiruzen continued, I have already communicated with Toad Sage. As long as Rasa is eliminated and the number of cultivators who return life is gradually reduced, the ninja world will return to its previous level, and the two holy places will bless us Konoha forever. After being deceived by Toad Sento, Saruto by Hiruzen has completely believed that as long as he can really kill Rasa, with the help of the two holy places, he will once again become the number one in the ninja world. Konoha village will cooperate with the practice method of gradually recovering life and returning it. This kind of technique, which can change one's fate against the will of heaven, is better left in the hands of a few people, Jiraiya said, but he still felt that something was wrong. At least he really targeted Rasa and Otsutsuki, but this time the third generation interrupted him. I know you still have doubts, but this time I did not mean to surround Rasa, but if you don't believe me, you can ask for the guidance of the Toad Immortal. Put the crystal ball you usually use on the table, and the appearance of the Toad Immortal is displayed in the crystal ball. He opened his eyes slightly and said, Little Jiraiya, what the Hokage said is true. In order to replace the Six Paths Immortal, Luo Sha not only laid out the ninja world, but the Shigu Forest was the Slug Immortal that Luo Sha killed. It was not what Luo Sha said. That way, Luo Sha is not as great as he said, and you have all been deceived by him. Tsunade was confused, who was real and who was fake. Toad Sage continued, not only that, he also set his sights on empty Maiamu and Yuji Cave. I have seen them all through the prophecy. It was your apprentice Uzumaki Naruto who was supposed to save the ninja world, and what originally belonged to him destiny is being taken away by Luo Sha step by step. Jiraiya said, Naruto, that child is indeed at first. Naruto's name was the name of the prophesied child. If it was said that just 3 generations ago, Jiraiya was half convinced. Now that Toad Sage has given his guarantee, Jiraiya has already believed it. Not just Jiraiya. Percent of the people here went to Maiamu Mountain to practice. Very few people went to Uchiha Cave. After all, toads are much cuter than snakes. Everyone is in awe of the Toad Immortal. Seeing that everyone had reached a consensus, Saruto by Hiruzen said directly, Don't worry, Toad Sage will also take action against Rasa this time. We have already made arrangements in the Forest of Death. Wait for the ninjas from Sunagakure village and Rasa to arrive for the trial. At the training location, Toad Sage will open the entrance to empty Maiamu and drag everyone from Rasa and Sunagakure village to empty Maiamu. The battlefield this time is in empty Maiamu, not Konoha, so everyone can rest assured. Hearing that the battlefield was not Konoha, everyone was no longer so repelled. Although it was easy for ninjas to build houses, time was precious. And if everyone remembers correctly, even in the first generation, Slug, as the contracted ninja beast of the first generation, had never cooperated like this. Toad Sage said, Yes, I will move everyone to Maiamu Mountain when the time comes. Rasa's strength has exceeded the shadow level. I will also personally take action and cooperate with the third Hokage to attack Rasa. Toad Immortal takes action? Everyone suddenly became interested. The only people in the 3 holy places who had come out to fight were slugs, but they were only clones with partial strength. The 3 immortals had never fought in person. As a sage, he always upholds a detached attitude and does not interfere in the disputes in the ninja world. But looking at Gamma Bunta from NT, Maiboku, as the summoned ninja beast of Jiraiya and the 4th generation, his strength is not weaker than the tailed beast. How strong should the Toad Immortal be? Moreover, Immortal Toad has lived for thousands of years, and no matter how talented Luo Sha is, it will only last for a few decades. Konoha's confidence soared. Saruto by Hiruzen immediately said, Yes, I will target Rasa together with Toad Sage, but Rasa's men are not weak, and you will have to deal with the rest. End of this chapter. Chapter 182 Xiaonan's Warning. Chapter 182 Xiaonan's Warning. Whenever one heard that there was no need to target Luo Sha, there was such a good thing. Although there was Toad Immortal standing in front of him, everyone still had lingering fears about Luo Sha's strength. It would not be difficult to recruit a few people to help him when he was at the end of the road. He didn't want to be the unlucky guy. Jiraiya said again, "Teacher, let me go with you. Although I don't want to fight Rasa, but now that Toad Sento has taken action, Konoha's operation will definitely not stop, and it really doesn't look good to let the third generation go." The third generation was very pleased. Compared with Orochimaru and Tsunade, Jiraiya was still filial. However, the third generation has made other arrangements. When the time comes, the other 3 people from Konoha F4 will go with him, as well as Nagato of Aimgakure village, the person with the Rinnegan eye. It is said that he is still Jiraiya's apprentice, so it would be even worse for Jiraiya to besiege Luo Sha. No, Rasa, I have made complete arrangements. Jiraiya, I need you to join forces with the 2 great sages Shima and Fukasaku to deal with Rasa's son and daughter, Gaara, the one-tailed Jinchuriki. As early as 5 years ago, he suppressed the 2 and 8 tails with one person. Now he is only stronger than 5 years ago. Although Konoha has the strongest 9 tails, Naruto has not yet been able to control the power of the 9 tails. The Kyuubi, who cannot transform into a tailed beast, cannot suppress Shukaku. Even with the Kyuubi's hatred for Konoha, the probability of attacking Konoha is even greater. There are many cage-level people here, but the only one who can fight a tailed beast alone is Jiraiya. Gaara, that kid? Jiraiya murmured in his heart that he should not be underestimated. Age has never been a representative of strength in the ninja world. It is not uncommon for people to have cage-level strength at the age of 10. What's more, Gaara is still a Jinchuriki of the first order, and he also masters gold dust like Rasa, and complements Shukaku perfectly. Jiraiya nodded. This time it was estimated that Rasa would definitely die. Since he was facing Gaara, he should be merciful and leave hope for Sunagakure village. Saruto by Hiruzen nodded. He really couldn't find anyone in Konoha who could suppress Gaara. It's a pity that the cultivation method of 9 tails was wrong. If he had been guided well since childhood, he wouldn't be able to do it now, but there is no point in dwelling on what has already happened. Turning to Tsunade. Tsunade, I need you and Kakashi to cooperate against the Red Sand Scorpion. Don't refuse. I know you have hemophobia, but the scorpion is a human puppet. There is no problem with blood, and as a puppet only you can suppress the master's poison. Tsunade opened her mouth, but finally acquiesced. After all, he is a person from Konoha. Even if he is dissatisfied, Tsunade will cooperate with what is decided. What's more, Scorpion, who is a human puppet, is indeed his best opponent. As the second in command of Sunagakure village, Scorpion defeated Raikage 5 years ago. He is not an enemy that can be suppressed easily, but Kakashi's words. Kakashi, who had been in the corner, did not speak, but kept his head lowered. Ever since he knew that Abido was the real culprit and his Sharingan was taken away, Kakashi seemed to be a different person, returning to the taciturn period. But he also found himself. He restored Hadake Shigesaku's former style. The thousands of ninjutsu he had copied were rarely used anymore. He studied Hadake's sword skills and thunder escape, and his speed was faster than lightning, stronger than ever. The cooperation between himself and Kakashi should be able to suppress Scorpion. Take Feng, you take Shikaku, Chaoji and Heiichi with you. Inaludi is responsible for dealing with Yi Kang. Be careful of Yi Kang's burning escape. Akimichi Taifeng was a contemporary of the 3rd generation. Although he was older, he also had rich combat experience. Moreover, after practicing Life Return, his instantaneous combat strength was no worse than at his peak. With the Pig Deer Butterfly, it shouldn't be a problem to deal with Yi Kang. 4 people agreed. The Burning Release. Yi Kang is not weak in strength. Even Itachi's Amaterasu could not be harmed at all. However, if a few people join forces, coupled with the elites of the three tribes, it will not be a problem to contain him. Even a tiger can't stop a pack of wolves. The top experts known to the outside world in Sand Hidden Village were all targeted. This was originally the case, but yesterday Kimimaro and today Uchiha Izumi revealed that their strength is not weaker than cage level, so these two teams should also focus on it. Kai, you and the Hyuga clan leader are on guard against Kimimaro's team. He is a member of the Taketori clan who is very strong in taijutsu. He can subdue Asuma and Kurenai in an instant, so we only have to worry about two taijutsu experts. Don't worry, Hokage-sama, I will complete the mission. Kai and Zio-Lai's reactions were exactly the same. There was actually a strong taijutsu expert in Sunagakure village. Since Kakashi returned to Anbu as head of the Anbu, Kai could no longer find an opponent in Konoha. I hope my opponent can satisfy me this time. Hinata Hizu also said that he knew. The third generation has absolute trust in Kai's strength. After all, he is the only one after Dai who can master the simultaneous opening of the 8 gates of Dunja. His instantaneous explosive power can directly crush the shadow level. Asuma and Kurenai, you lead the team to target Uchiha Izumi. Once you master the main Jikaiu, you will definitely use Susanoo. You have to guard against it. This is entirely the selfish intention of the third generation. After all, Izumi's group is relatively weak at first glance. There is basically no problem if Kurenai and Asuma take action. Shuei Aburame, go and suppress Ross's daughters Temari and Kankuro. Although these two are genin, their strength is probably at the level of an elite jounin. As for the remaining Beizu, Yashimaru and Maki, their strength is average. They were led away by Yamashiro Aoba, Namashi Rado, Shiranui Genma, and Moonlight Hayate respectively. He made up his mind to wipe out everyone who came to Sunagakure village this time. While Konoha was plotting against Sunagakure, Rasa was also giving instructions to Zia and Hagakura in the lounge. The conflict between Izumi and the Konoha children was nothing. The Konoha staff rushed to apologize and failed to maintain order. This is an opportunity for you. With your current strength, there are very few opportunities for you to act unscrupulously. If Konoha gives it to you, you must cherish it. Several people nodded. No matter how much sparring was done, it couldn't compare to a real fight to the death, especially those who were close to Luo Sha, who felt the loneliness Luo Sha once felt. At this moment, a blue-haired female ninja wearing a Konoha forehead protector suddenly opened the door and walked in. Luo Sha recognized him at first glance. Isn't this Xiaonan from the Xiao organization? Does this mean Nagato is here too? Uchiha Madara's style is indeed not to participate in a siege. But what do you mean by coming in like this? Gonin said anxiously. Geizgage Rasa, leave Konoha immediately. The Hokage is targeting you. Luo Sha's face was full of doubts. Konoha, your allies are really leaking from all sides. But you don't remember having any friendship with the Akatsuki organization. Seeing that Luo Sha didn't believe it, Xiaonan said again, what I said is true. They will deceive you to Miyamu Mountain. Although you are very strong, the Toad Sage can gain strength in Miyamu Mountain. Nagato, who has the Samsara Eye, you are not a rival. It is very dangerous for you to go. Please leave quickly. Really also have to thank them. Genchu couldn't enter Miyamu Mountain openly. I only wrote down half of what I owed yesterday, so I'll get up early tomorrow morning to make up for it. After the holiday on November, I was so busy that I really couldn't stay up late. Feel sorry. End of this chapter. Chapter 183. Luo Sha doesn't listen to advice. Chapter 183. Luo Sha doesn't listen to advice. Luo Sha has been thinking about how to attack Miyamu Mountain. Now that he knows that the Toad Immortal will take the initiative to open the portal, it is naturally the best. He is not afraid of you fighting, but afraid of you running away. Conan saw that Rasa didn't care very much, and was very anxious. People from Konoha might come at any time. Now it was Conan's paper clone, and the real body was still guarding Nagato. In the past few days, Nagato had been waiting for the opportunity to talk to Rasa alone, but Konoha was strictly on guard against it, and he didn't have a deep friendship with Rasa. Especially regarding Scorpion, Uchiha Madara's existence can even be said to be an antagonism. As the second in command of Akatsuki, Nagato can avoid Konoha's surveillance, but if he comes rashly, there is no guarantee of the outcome. If Luo Sha regards the two as enemies and fights as soon as they come up, the noise will definitely be huge. After procrastinating here and there, I never found a good opportunity to have a peaceful conversation. Today, I was invited to Miyamu Mountain to prepare for Luo Sha. Nagato couldn't wait any longer and asked Conan's paper clone to notify Rasa to leave. Having fought against Toad Immortal, he naturally understood the terrifying strength of Toad Immortal. After receiving a commission from Senjutsu, Nagato is very powerful. Even Uchiha Madara can fight back and forth and even suppress him. Of course, in a life-and-death fight, Uchiha Madara is stronger. However, the sudden increase in strength also made Nagato feel contemptuous. This time he came to Konoha because of the dignity of Uchiha Madara, a strong man who did not participate in the siege, so Nagato was allowed to come. Nagato also wanted to test Rasa's strength. I wanted to play against Luo Sha a few years ago, but unfortunately I never had the right opportunity, so I waited until today. He is sharpening his fists and taking a good look at Luo Sha's strength. Before waiting for Luo Sha, Nagato and Toad Sage fought 3 times. The legendary Holy Land, which claims to be a sage, has not been born for many years. I thought that Miyamu Mountain was a wasted reputation, but it taught Nagato a good lesson. Unexpectedly, there is a 6 paths level above the shadow level. That is the level of strength, not his own 6 paths puppet. Even though Nagato used all his methods, he was still defeated without any suspense under the attack of Toad Sage's Tao-seeking Jade. Only then did Nagato realize what it means that there is heaven outside the world and there are people outside the world. Based on his own strength, I am afraid that Luo Sha will not be the opponent of Toad Sage, let alone the help of Konoha. So when I find an opportunity, I immediately ask Conan to give Luo Sha a warning. Although Toad Sento used his words to deceive Saruto by her reason to fool Nagato again, Nagato did not believe him. In his opinion, Toad Sento's words had many loopholes. Are natural energies violent? No. Rather than saying that the natural energy is violent, it is more that there is something wrong with Miyamu Mountain's practice method. The rows of stone statues represent the failures of many people. Even if the natural energy is really violent, you Miyamashin have mastered it for thousands of years. Why don't you think about improving it? On the contrary, Rasa improved the method of returning life without any side effects. Nagato is not stupid. He has also seen the method of practicing senjutsu in Mount Myoki in private, but he feels that there are traces of modification in it. But it was modified to be more suitable for Toad practice. Through Rasa's training method, Nagato almost reversed the unmodified version of Miyamu Mountain. Although the training was very difficult, there was absolutely no risk of petrification. Therefore, Toad Immortal is far more suspicious than Luo Sha. Even if Rasa really has some plot, but it benefits the entire ninja world for no reason, there is nothing wrong with him even if he replaces the Sage of 6 Paths. After all, the Sage of 6 Paths has been sitting there for thousands of years watching the disputes in this shinobi world, and it makes no difference whether he exists or not. Since they are all guarding the ninja world, and Rasa is willing to take up the responsibility to fight against Otsutsuki, it is better to let Rasa do it. On the contrary, Miyamashin seemed a little angry. After careful deduction, Nagato suddenly discovered that if there was anyone in the ninja world who didn't want celestial magic to spread, it must be the 3 holy places. You must know that before Rasa, there were only 3 holy places that mastered natural energy. In recent decades, The only ones who mastered Senjutsu were the first Hokage Senju Hashirama and his master Jiraiya. It seems that the fourth Hokage can also do it. However, after practicing Rasa's Senjutsu method, I discovered that the so-called Senjutsu is to fully master the natural energy and then awaken to a mode that is more suitable for oneself. Nagato's Senjutsu mode is self-awakening, based on the Samsara eye, and there is no frog at all change. It is abnormal for the three holy places to force the magic mode to look like a toad or a snake. The power is much weaker than self-awakening. Without Luo Sha, the three holy places would still have exclusive access to the magic mode. So instead of saying that Luo Sha has a conspiracy, it would be better to say that you, immortal Toad, have a conspiracy. After not being born for thousands of years, Rasa's rise was deeply bound to Konoha. You must know that in the past, he only accepted the Konoha Sannin as the spokesperson of the Holy Land. Therefore, Nagato was very wary of Toad Sage. In fact, even Nagato could see so much. Why didn't the wily Hiruzen Sarutobi find the problem or wrong? However, Toad Sage's statement was more beneficial to the current situation, so this statement could be the truth. Just as Toad Immortal guessed, once Luo Sha is really killed, without this pressure, the first to put an end to the spread of the return of life will be the senior officials of Ninja Village. Although Nagato turned dark after Yahiko's death, he still worked hard towards Yahiko's goals. Since Eye of the Moon's plan is just to resurrect Otsutsuki Kaguya, Uchiha Madara does not look like someone who can bring peace to the ninja world. Instead, Rasa, despite his fierce reputation, has been quietly developing the ninja world. It's just a pity that there is no way to have a good talk, so Rasa must not be allowed to fall into the trap of Konoha and Mount Myoki. He told Xiaonan that he must stop Luo Sha, but seeing that Luo Sha still didn't care, Xiaonan couldn't help but said anxiously, "Feng Ying, leave. Why would you throw yourself into a trap when you know it is a trap?" Then he said to Zai, Yikang and others, "You are all Kasuge's subordinates, right? Knowing that Kasuge is about to go to a dangerous place, why can you remain indifferent? Rasa may be the strongest in the ninja world, but Toad Sage is not much weaker than Six Paths, do you understand?" Seeing Xiaonan's excited look, it seemed that he was Luo Sha's subordinate, and everyone seemed to be watching the fun. Luo Sha said with some curiosity, "Xiaonan, you and I, Xiao, can even be said to be hostile, but I am very curious. Why did you come to report to me? You should be helpers sent by Konoha. It is normal to watch me die, right?" Xiaonan said speechlessly, "Why are all of you so indifferent? Rosa, I know you are wary of me, but now is not the time to talk about this. We have never been enemies. Akatsuki was not established by Madara Uchiha. The purpose of establishing Akatsuki in the past was to achieve peace in the ninja world. In the past, I was deceived by Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Obito. Now that I know that the Eye of the Moon's plan is to resurrect Otsutsuki Kaguya, it is naturally impossible to execute it. Rasa, Nagato has always wanted to have a good talk with you. But there is no chance. Let's talk until we leave Konoha. End of this chapter. Chapter 184 The Alliance That Shocked Nagato. Chapter 184 The Alliance That Shocked Nagato. I didn't expect that I would be treated like a protagonist. Nagato, who was inspired by Naruto to take the initiative to reincarnate and die, now wants to defect to him. It means that just as Sarutobi Hiruzen said, the will of the world has been transferred to himself, and the opportunities belonging to Naruto and Sasuke have also been transferred to himself. With the will of the world on his side, he will only become more and more smooth. This is also an irreconcilable contradiction with the Six Paths. We will definitely talk to Nagato, but we should do it later. Since Nagato wants to find me, it just so happens that I also want to talk to Nagato about something. Xiaonan, I thank you for the warning, but in fact it is not so much my omission, and Konoha's plan against us is better said to be our own plan. Toad Sage is indeed very strong, but I am not weak either. You are now a paper clone. When you send the news back to Nagato later, tell him that he will fight later. Stay away from me, otherwise I might accidentally hurt him. Luo Sha comforted Xiaonan. It would be the most correct choice for you to contact me. Otherwise, even without Uchiha Obito, sooner or later you will not be able to escape the fate of being sacrificed. No, Xiaonan still wanted to persuade her. Even if they just resorted to tricks, how could they compare to Konoha's careful arrangements? Besides, we are still at the base camp of Konoha, and none of the Toads and empty Miyaki are weak. Moreover, as Nagato had repeatedly warned, Konan felt that it was impossible to make a fuss on her own, so that at least Konoha would change her plan because she was discovered. But before Xiaonan finished speaking, Magi came forward and said, Xiaonan, our Sunagakure village is very grateful for your information, but please trust Master Luo Sha. We also have reasons to attack Miyamu Mountain, and our Sunagakure village came out in full force. Definitely not here to die. Xiaonan looked at the lineup of Sunagakure village, and it was true. Almost all the powerful people are here. If they are all killed, even if there are still shadow-level villagers in Sand Hidden Village, it will be almost destroyed. At this time, Sai also stepped forward and said, Xiaonan, you should believe me. Don't worry, Sand Hidden Village will not fight unprepared battles. Don't think about making a big noise or anything like that, it will only cause more trouble for us. After leaving Konoha, we can still catch up on old times. Don't worry, following Lord Rasa will definitely realize your idea of saving the ninja world. As a former comrade, Zai could see Xiaonan's next move at a glance. Xiaonan knew that there was nothing he could do to cause trouble, and Scorpion had always been calm, so maybe he was really sure of victory. Thinking about it, how could someone who planned to save the ninja world have no strength? Xiaonan stopped trying to persuade him and could only say, in this case, Nagato will try his best to assist Kasuga-sama in Miyaboku Mountain. The whole person spread out into pieces of paper. As Xiaonan left, all the subordinates in Sand Hidden Village also looked at Luo Sha with admiration. First, Kirigakure and Kumagakure villages surrendered for several years. Then Iwagakure village also gave up, secretly opposing Sunagakure village, and now even Akatsuki leader Nagato is impressed by Rasa's charm. As expected, Rasa-sama he is worthy of being the savior of the ninja world. It is not difficult to defeat the Mizukage, Reikage, Tsuchikage and Nagato, but it is too difficult to be so sincerely convinced. Magi admired him and said, Master Luo Sha, is this all within your plan? It is indeed you. Except for Konoha's ignorance of current affairs, there is no difference between Rasa-sama and the unified ninja world. Luo Sha listened comfortably, but still warned, everyone must not be proud. The failure of the strong begins with pride and complacency. We are not attacking Miyamu Mountain just to show off our fists. Miyamu Mountain is, after all, the home of Konoha and Toad Sage. The other party has also made arrangements for us, and we will take action immediately once we enter MT. Miyamu, do you understand? The crowd nodded in agreement. Having fought against the Slug Immortal a few years ago, I naturally understood that a battle of that level should not cause trouble to Master Luo Sha. However, after a few years, everyone asked themselves that if they were themselves now, they would have been able to help Master Luo Sha. The sixth path level is not invincible, just like the Toad Sage only suppressed Nagato, not crushed him. At this moment, Toad Immortal once again used his precognition in Miyamu Mountain. Unfortunately, as Luo Sha's guardians gained more and more weight, he was no longer able to predict everything related to Luo Sha. Not only Luo Sha, but also people and things related to Luo Sha are unpredictable. Even the future of the entire ninja world is too confusing to be seen. Next to her is the old woman transformed by White Snake Sennin. Behind her are Shima Sennin and Fukasaku Sennin, the remaining two great goddesses. And not far away there are Pain Six Paths. Behind them are Gamabunta, Gamaken, etc. And the big snake from Muji Cave is Banch and Xingya, as well as the Konoha ninjas who entered. The other big snakes are not as powerful and are too big to take up space. Gamabunta's head was filled with dark streaks, and he never thought that one day he would join forces with Uchido. Compared to Chiexin Shenheim and Ikikijima Heim, who can still suppress their own nature, Wanshi and Xingya are already drooling, and the toads all over the ground are delicious food. The toads in Miyamu Mountain were on guard and helpless. They were all descendants of Toad Sage. Since Toad Sage gave the order, they gathered immediately, and there was no doubt like Konoha. Even in the face of Wanshi and Xingya's drooling, the White Snake Immortal smoked his pipe deeply, looked at the Toad Immortal and said, "What's the matter, you frowning? We are joining forces at Miyamu Mountain. We can fight even if the Six Paths Immortal comes. What are you worried about?" The Toad Immortal said calmly, "Luo Sha, why is this person able to reach this point today? The events in ancient times were thought to be over, and the three gods have fallen, but the goddess can still be resurrected and can even kill slugs. Slug is not clear-headed. He hid at the bottom of the sea and refused to talk. He also refused to listen to you. I don't believe Luo Sha can still kill you and let me join forces." Toad Sage also knew that he and White Snake had joined forces and would not be afraid even if Kaguya came, but he still felt uneasy in his heart. In the final analysis, the two of them are still rejected by the will of the world. If they had not helped Liu Dao in the early years and Liu Dao did not want to target them, the three holy places would have disappeared long ago. Luo Sha, who is now blessed by the will of the world, should never have been able to kill the slug back then, but the slug was still killed. Are he and White Snake really safe? But he also had no way out. If such a layout can still be counterattacked by Luo Sha, then it can only be said that it should be so. Outside Miyamu Mountain, Xiaonan received the message from the clone and told Nagato with an ugly face. Naturally, Nagato would not be stupid enough to enter empty Miyamu, but would only control Pain's 6 paths within an absolute range. After listening to Conan's narration, Nagato sighed helplessly. He didn't know that Luo Sha was strong, but if he was just a Toad Sage, he might still have a chance. But there were 2 6-level masters in Miyaboku Mountain. Hujidong, a natural enemy, actually came to help Miyamashin, and it was obvious that the White Snake Immortal and the Toad Immortal had a close friendship. End of this chapter. Chapter 185. Don't be so arrogant in your sand-hidden village. Chapter 185. Don't be so arrogant in your sand-hidden village. Everyone knows that Miyamu Mountain and Uchidong are at odds with each other, so they are now joining forces to fight against the enemy. Although they have never fought against White Snake Immortal, since they are both immortals with Toad Immortal, their strength is definitely not weaker than Toad Immortal. No matter how strong Luo Sha is, he can't resist the siege of the 2 immortals. Telling Xiaonan what Pain saw, he immediately wanted Xiaonan to inform Luo Sha again, but when Xiaonan asked the paper clone to return again, it was too late. Saruto by Hiruzen had already arranged everything and rushed back. Keisuke-sama, I'm really sorry. It took a long time to arrange it. Because the situation has changed, we only kept the trial of the Death Forest. Sunagakure village holds the Scroll of Heaven, and Konoha village holds the Scroll of Earth. Your Sunagakure village, there are only 3 teams participating, so how about we Konoha also send 3 teams? The team that obtains the complete Scroll of Heaven and Earth and reaches the end of the Forest of Death will be the winner, Saruto by Hiruzen said, making arrangements. After all, it is just an appetizer. If you lose, you will be defeated. The end point is the decisive battle at empty Miyamu. Luo Sha nodded. That's it, but there are so many participating teams in Konoha. Please come. You don't have to make do with our Sunagakure village. It's not fair to you, Konoha. How much do you look down on us, Konoha? Also, others don't know that the 3 teams, Gaara the Jinchuriki, Kimimaro who subdued Asuma, and Kurenai, and Uchiha Izumi who mastered the main Jikayo, can all be sure to have cage-level strength. Although Konoha's genin team has many people, his strength is comparable to that of a Jonin, but not as powerful as Sunagakure village. But there are too many ants to kill the elephant. There are more than 40 teams in Konoha. If divided into more than 10 teams, they will target one team each. Even the shadow level cannot be guaranteed. Besides, don't you believe that all of you are so rebellious? He heard that there were some minor conflicts after we left, but we didn't manage them well. However, Konoha currently has 42 teams. Wouldn't it be too unfair to Sunagakure village if they all play? When did the world of ninjas become fair? How can I be a ninja if I want to be fair? I mean, Hokage, weren't there more conflicts in the past than now? Even if you Konoha wins, if you lose, it's because our Sunagakure village is inferior to others. Saruto by Hiruzen frowned. Very good. Since it was your Sunagakure village's own choice, then we can't blame Konoha. With a gesture, all 42 teams in Konoha went out to fight to snatch the 3 heavenly scrolls from Sunagakure village. Knowing that Sunagakure village looked down upon us so much, there was a commotion in Konoha. What a joke, they don't take us seriously. In Kiba and Shikamaru, who had finished grooming and changed back into their clothes, rolled their eyes. 1/3 of the team present were civilians, with negligible combat effectiveness. The remaining 2/3 were ninjas from various ninja clans. As the next generation heads of each clan, they could connect them together. After several provocations, several people also knew that fighting alone was definitely no match for Sunagakure village. But if it's a siege, it's hard to say. Several people immediately went to connect with each other, and sure enough, many ninjas who took the exam agreed. They were all from Konoha, and they were looked down upon by Sunagakure village, so there was no problem with the alliance. In addition to those who are too weak, there are also those who are mavericks. In Kiba gathered 7 teams, Shikamaru also gathered 5 teams. Although the rest did not gather, they only had one option to target Sunagakure. As the race begins, everyone enters the forest of death. Saruto by Hiruzen made a please gesture and said, "Please, Lord Kasuke, move to the forest of death and wait for the winning team." Luo Sha smiled and pointedly said, "The forest of death is really not a good name. I wonder who will die there today?" Saruto by Hiruzen's hand was frozen in midair. Why were Rasa's words so weird? So do you know or don't know? However, Rasa had already stood up and left, leaving Saruto by Hiruzen alone and messy. At this time, the Tsuchikage, Mizukage and Reikage also stood up, seeming to want to go together. Saruto by Hiruzen stepped forward and said, "Every cage, please stay. Since the 3 major ninja villages will not participate in this Chunin exam, I have prepared a better position for you, so you don't have to be with me and the Kasuke. The few of you just played tricks on me. Although we haven't completely broken up yet, the combined escort team can already determine the direction of the battle. Except for the 4-tailed Jinchuriki Laozai, the remaining tailed beasts are almost all gathered together. It is impossible to trust you to enter empty. Mayaboku. What should I do if I betray you?" Tsuchikage frowned and said, "Hokage, you'd better think carefully. It's still too late to stop now. Are you sure you want to continue Konoha without us?" After the 3 major ninja villages expressed their stance, Konoha did not stop and continued, but it did not intend to stop the plan to surround and kill Rasa. You must know that the entire force of Kumagakure village can only force Uchiha Madara back. Without our help, what confidence does Konoha have to fight against Rasa? Not to mention that Luo Sha is not alone. The elites of Sunagakure village are here. Are you really not afraid of death, or do you want Konoha to be completely eliminated from the ninja world? Until the last moment, Saruto by Hiruzen did not tell the 3 of them that empty Mayaboku and Yuji Cave were also involved, but only vaguely revealed that the 2 holy places would participate. The 3 great ninja villages all thought it was a powerful toad and snake. They did not expect that the 2 great immortals would personally take action and move the battlefield to Miyamu Mountain. The outside world still doesn't know enough about the Holy Land, and they don't know the strength of the two immortals. Saruto by Hiruzen said, Tsuchikage, Mizukage, and Reikage, I will give you one last chance. It's not too late to join Konoha now, otherwise Reikage said disdainfully, haha, what else can I do? I would like to see what Konoha can do to our cloud-hidden village, or you want me to talk to Lord Kasgage now? Saruto by Hiruzen immediately lost his temper. Guys, you have no idea what opportunities you missed. Very good. You will regret it later. They have already entered the implementation stage. How could they be allowed to be destroyed by the three of them? Hiruzen Saruto by left quickly, and the Anbu led the three shadows to another viewing platform in the Death Forest. The three of them continued to communicate. Tsuchikage said, interesting, they didn't stop yet. Are they so confident? The Mizukage and the Reikage laughed and shook their heads. The conspiracy against Sunagakure village was the most unjust thing in the ninja world. Both major ninja villages had suffered losses. Konoha obviously didn't have a long memory. Seeing the two of them looking confident, the Tsuchikage felt relieved. Even if Konoha really succeeds and the three major ninja villages join forces, there is no need to be afraid, and they can even take advantage of both sides to suffer losses in the Forest of Death. Gaara, Temari, and Kankuro, Kimimaro, Jugo, and Murasaki, as well as Koso, Izumi, Uchiha, and Shiro dispersed in three directions. More than 40 teams in Konoha also dispersed and chased the three. The direction of the team. The 9 people in Sunagakure are also helpless. Although there are more people, a rabble is a rabble. This is essentially a torture game that makes people uninterested. On the contrary, Konoha's team was very excited, each with dozens of people fighting 3 people. Today, Sunagakure village will know not to be so arrogant. End of this chapter. Chapter 186, Chapter 9. As soon as I come out, I will call you Brother Shukaku. Chapter 186 Kyuubi. As soon as I come out, I will call you Brother Shukaku. In the direction in which the 3 groups of people left, Gaara and the other 3 were the ones chasing the least. As the most perfect Jinchuriki now recognized in the ninja world, only a few groups of people followed symbolically. But seeing Gaara and the others getting further and further away, Naruto chose to follow them. He wanted to make sure of something. After several days of contact, although Luo Sha did not take the initiative to inform him of his identity, Naruto also knew that the kind uncle was disguised by transformation. Through his words and deeds, there is a child with a similar situation to his own, and there is no one else except Rasa, the Kasgage of Sunagakure village. After all, besides Kasgage Rasa, Naruto couldn't think of anyone who could suppress the Kyuubi and help him when he went on a rampage 5 years ago. Naruto desperately wanted to talk to Gaara. However, there were differences in class. Compared to Naruto, who was interested in Gaara, Sasuke obviously wanted to keep up with Uchiha Izumi. Although Sister Izumi turned on the kaleidoscope, what if something unexpected happened? Follow her by yourself, even if you can't help her, just to make sure that nothing happens to Sister Kwan. After a brief discussion, the two decided to pursue their own affairs. The current situation was no longer a formal examination, so there was no need to stick to the rules. And now, the Chunin exam has no meaning. Sakura watched Naruto and Sasuke go in different directions and was very speechless. Didn't you even ask me for my opinion? Let me go back. Going back means giving up and choosing to chase Sasuke. Of the remaining 2 groups, the most people chose to pursue Kimimaro. Uchiha Izumi opened the kaleidoscope, which represented the shadow level strength. Although Kimimaro took action to subdue Asuma and Kurenai, not much was known about it. After all, it was not a glorious thing. The 3rd generation ordered not to talk nonsense. Even if they knew, they would just assume that Kurenai and Asuma underestimated the enemy and didn't really think that Kimimaro had cage-level strength. Therefore, the people chasing Gaara and Uchiha Izumi were only a dozen teams, while there were more than 20 teams chasing Kimimaro and others. Sai Luo looked back and felt anxious, not for the three of herself, but for the Konoha ninjas behind her. You can chase whoever you want. Chase us. You must know that except for me, Kimimaro and Jugo are all mentally unstable people. You are not enough to warm up to the actual killing. When the time comes, I won't be able to stop you. Why are you so confused? In fact, at the beginning, Gaara and others discussed how to proceed. Gaara proposed that a sandstorm would end the battle. However, it was rejected in the end. It was not that a few people were interested. The decisive battle with Konoha was imminent. They were different from the older generation of ninjas. At that time, Sunagakure and Konoha often fought against each other and knew each other well. Since Rasa became the strongest, Konoha did not dare to provoke Sunagakure village. Although several people are very strong, they don't know enough about Konoha's secret techniques. In fact, the effects of secret techniques are often unexpected. Although several of them are at the shadow level in terms of strength, if they were defeated by secret techniques because they underestimated the enemy, they would be forcibly removed from the battle after activating the placer gold clones in their bodies, which was unacceptable to them. So why not just play with the ninjas of Konoha? The three groups decided to distance themselves and leave in different directions in order not to affect each other. The first one to stand was Gaara, but seeing that there was nothing behind him, with only a dozen or so people, he felt helpless, and the appearance of Uzumaki Naruto made Gaara a little more interested. Shukaku was already screaming in Gaara's stomach. Kyuubi, definitely Kyuubi. I didn't expect the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi to be so weak now. We don't even need to attack together, just one of us can suppress it. Not only that, Shukaku also started taunting in the tailed beast space. There was nothing he could do if he didn't open it. Naruto's seal had been reinforced, but if he spoke outside, Kyuubi couldn't hear it. Ouch, who do I think this is? Isn't this Leiju? Little brother, what's going on? Look at us, except for the 3 tails and 7 tails who were captured. We are already getting along well with the Jinchuriki. What's going on? Are you still locked up so tightly? Kurama, the 9 tails went berserk in an instant. Since a few years ago, Shukaku has called himself the eldest brother of the 9-tailed beasts. The reason is very good. He is the first one to be split and the legitimate tailed beast boss. Naturally, everyone ignored him at first. But after Shukaku suppressed the 2 tails and 8 tails, Shukaku gradually established himself as the strongest tailed beast. Kyuubi was very unconvinced by this. Are you going to fight me? Just claim to be the strongest anyway. I, the 9 llamas, don't approve it, and we are not human beings. So why should we be ranked in order of birth? We isn't the last one the boss. Didn't you see that my tail is the longest? Once upon a time, none of you were howling when I beat you. Sunagakure village was 1 against 4, and so was Konoha. And compared to Shukaku, who relied on the desert to remain undefeated, under the control of Mito Uzumaki and Kushina Uzumaki, I defeated each of you. In terms of strength, I should be the boss. In the end, Shukaku beat Kyuubi half to death with just 1 sentence. Hey, are you stronger or Uzumaki Mito? The Kyuubi who despises the Jinchuriki the most is now showing off the Jinchuriki's achievements. 9 tails. What makes Kyuubi even more unacceptable is that with the popularization of Senjutsu, the strength of Jinchuriki has greatly increased. At the same time, because of Shukaku, Nekomata, and Juki's relationship, every village is following Rasa's example and working hard to improve the tailed beasts. Relationship, communication, and freedom are all available. After several years of development, the tailed beasts and Jinchuriki have almost become friends, and each has gained respect in the ninja village. Only Kyuubi, almost unchanged. Although Naruto's treatment has been good since Jiraiya's return, the Kyuubi's reputation is so fierce that Konoha can't suppress it, and Konoha doesn't dare to gamble. Uzumaki Naruto took the initiative to try many times. Kyuubi has actually tried to contact Naruto, and has also lent chakra to Naruto several times. He and Naruto have the best relationship among the Jinchuriki, but the harmonious relationship with other Jinchuriki and tailed beasts is still far behind. Now that Shukaku was yelling at him in front of his face, how could he bear it and respond immediately in the tailed beast space? Shukaku, don't bully others too much. You have the ability halfway through. He lost confidence. He had the ability to wait for himself to come out, but when he came out, he would either reconcile with Naruto or be forcibly controlled by Naruto. What are you capable of? Are you waiting for you to come out? Then why don't you come out? Nowadays, any of the brothers will come out if they want to, and you are the only one. Look at your potential. No wonder you are the 9th child. Everyone is the youngest child disobedient. Damn Shukaku, why are you pretending to be the boss? Well, since you like being the boss so much, you should take on the responsibility of being the boss. Shouldn't the boss take care of his younger brother? If you have the ability, let Uzumaki Naruto release me. As long as when I come out, I will call you Big Brother immediately. End of this chapter. Chapter 187. Return to Big Brother, I call you Uncle. Chapter 187. Return to Big Brother, I call you Uncle 9 Llamas. You said this yourself. Everyone has testified for me. Shukaku shouted in the tailed beast space. The remaining tailed beasts were all in a state of watching a show. The 9 tailed beasts had been stinking for thousands of years. With their strength, except for the 1-tailed beast that could lean on the desert, the 3-tailed and 8-tailed beasts could remain unbroken in the water. Defeat. There is no one who can defeat Kyuubi head-on. The strength of a tailed beast is fixed after it reaches adulthood, so the Kyuubi becomes more and more arrogant. Now Shukaku is full of confidence. The melon he eats is not his own. Yuki was the first to respond. No problem. I, New Gui, will be the first to testify. As long as the 9 llamas call you eldest brother, I will recognize you as eldest brother. Nakamata seconded the proposal. 4 Tails seconded the motion. King Mu seconded the proposal. Chanaming has no objection. Except for the 3-tailed and 7-tailed beasts who were captured, they all spoke. In fact, the conditions of the other tailed beasts except the 2-tailed and 8-tailed beasts have improved over the years to some extent because of Shukaku. Moreover, he is just an eldest brother, so there is nothing to lose. Although several great ninja villages are fighting to death, the tailed beasts are still from the 10 tails in the end, so there is no problem in saying that they are brothers. Shukaku was indeed the first to come out. Sunagakure village was the first to resurrect the 10 tails, so why should we offend Shukaku no in order not to follow in the footsteps of Sanwei and Nanao? It doesn't matter if you call me Big Brother. When the time comes, you can't just ignore it like Sanwei and Nanao. Can't the eldest brother protect his brother? No one wants to return to the body of the 10 tails and become chakra again. When you hear that there is no Jiu-Lama, don't deny it for a while. Then he said to Gaara, Bara, you heard it too. This is about my face. You must help me. The two already had a tacit understanding, and Gaara was a little helpless. It wasn't that he didn't want to help. With their current strength, it would be too easy to defeat the Kyuubi, but the problem was to release it first. Naruto and Kyuubi don't have that tacit understanding. I don't care. Anyway, what I said has been released. It's up to you whether I can be the eldest brother. Gaara sighed, okay. After all, this was Shukaku's first time asking him for help. Sister, brother, and the rest, you are responsible for dealing with it. Naruto is left to me. Shukaku wants to fight the Kyuubi. Leave it to us X2. Temari and Kankuro had no objection. It was just the 9 tails, the 2nd tails, and the 8 tails had fought together. The 2 of them passed directly over Naruto, isolating the Konoha ninja behind from Naruto and Gaara. My brother has something to do. Everyone in Konoha, don't blame me for not warning you. This road is blocked, Temari said coldly. not to the candidates of Konoha, but to the deeper Anbu of Konoha hidden not far away. Jiraiya went to empty Maiboku to make preparations, but someone was still responsible for Naruto's safety. Uzumaki Naruto, hello, I'm Gaara. This is our first time meeting you. Although it's a bit excessive, can you please let Kyuubi come out for a moment? My Shukaku wants to spar with him. Uzumaki Naruto scratched his head. Well, I'm sorry, I can't control the Nine Tails perfectly like you. The Nine Tails' destructive power is too strong, so I can't promise you. Gaara was a little confused. This is so, it's really difficult to handle. Naruto was a little envious of Gaara, his sister and brother who stepped forward, and his father who loved him. It was obvious that his father was also the Hokage who sacrificed for the village. If he hadn't known the truth back then, I'm afraid he would still be hungry now. Pause. After Jiraiya came back, he got his former home back from Naruto, as well as the fourth generation's property. But even though his family was bigger, Naruto was still very lonely. Even though he is the best student in the school and a disciple of the Sannin Jiraiya, the villagers still hate him, or rather hate the Kyuubi. But I am also a victim. But since Luo Sha is the uncle, it was thanks to his uncle that he was able to see the consciousness of his father and mother, so that he could not let others continue to control his life. Gaara, I envy you so much. In fact, it's thanks to Uncle Kasuke that I know who I really am. So even if it's because of Uncle, I can't release the Kyuubi. I can't control the Kyuubi very well, and it will hurt me. Your turn. Luo Sha and her 3 children had lamented about Naruto. In that case, why don't you come to Sunagakure village? Father also likes you. Don't worry, no one in Sunagakure village discriminates against tailed beasts and Jinchuriki. Naruto shook his head. I think so too, but my father gave his life for the village. What he couldn't do before, I want to try now. Become Hokage, change Konoha, and make Konoha a real fire. Gaara looked at Naruto in surprise. Now I admire you. You can be so strong in such an environment. You have found your own way of ninja. You said that your father has helped you, maybe I can also help you? Uzumaki Naruto, believe me. If you believe me, let Kyuubi come out, and I will have a way to help you become friends with Kyuubi. Naruto Uzumaki's face turned gloomy. Perhaps it is because there is no rough nerve in the plot. Although Uzumaki Naruto has worked hard to communicate with the Kyuubi over the years and has made some progress, he can display 5 tails, but it is already the limit. If he continues, his consciousness will be swallowed by the Kyuubi. He didn't think Kyuubi would listen to Gaara. It's better not to. Kyuubi is really strong. You are worrying too much. Kyuubi is not my opponent now. I am in a hurry, so I can only apologize. He instantly accelerated in front of Uzumaki Naruto. However, Naruto's speed was inherited from the 4th generation and he reacted instantly. However, when he wanted to avoid it, he realized that his ankles had been bound by sand at some point. Gaara placed his hand on Naruto's stomach. Over the years, Gaara has grown in all aspects. Apart from sand and gold, the only thing he is good at is sealing. Not to mention that he is a Jinchuriki. Shukaku is also good at sealing. He knows very well how to break the sealing technique and release the 9 tails. Even though the 4th generation's sealing technique is stronger than Gaara's, the basics are the same. Seeing that Chero, was about to release the 9 tails, Tenzing, who was hiding in secret, immediately stepped out and formed a seal, wood release, wood dragon technique. A wooden dragon emerged out of thin air and bit at Naruto, intending to prevent the Kyuubi from breaking free. The wind blade mixed with the iron blade directly split the wooden dragon into sections. Temari said calmly, I told you, this road is blocked. Is this chakra Tenso? You should know that Sand Hidden Village does not joke. Tenzu's face was ashen. Jiraiya-sama's commission could not be completed. Kyuubi's chakra was fully recovered. Were the 2 children of Rasa so strong back then? Uzumaki Naruto was knocked into the consciousness space, and before he could react, he heard a clanging sound coming from behind him. The iron door that blocked the Kyuubi was opened, and Kushina's consciousness appeared. She was very surprised. She was the last resort, so why did she come out without any reaction? Kyuubi jumped out, not having time to care about Kushina's remnants and Naruto. Naruto's body was controlled by the 9 tails. White smoke flashed, and the 9 tails stretched out first, falling to the ground and smashing the ground. The violent momentum of the 9 tails exploded, and he was completely involved. Shukaku immediately shouted happily, "Okay Kyuubi, I'm letting you out. Please call Big Brother." 9-tailed black line. I call you uncle. End of this chapter. Chapter 188. The younger brother who doesn't obey the rules. Brother educate you. Chapter 188. Disobedient brother. Brother educate you uncle. That's not bad. If you call me uncle, there will be 7 more uncles above. Are you sure? Shukaku didn't seem to hear Kyuubi's anger and interrupted with a smile. Still speaking simultaneously in the tailed beast space. Everyone, the 9 llamas want me to be your uncle. Do you agree? Nugui, didn't I become the 8th master? Does the 9th llama like to be a junior so much? The other tailed beasts didn't speak. They were all laughing secretly. Shukaku, you are looking for death. The Kyuubi couldn't bear it anymore and slapped Gaara, who had not yet transformed into a tailed beast, with his claws. Looking up at the huge black shadow pressing down, Gaara was just about to activate the sand gold when Shukaku said directly, "Gaara, please don't interfere. I want to educate my disobedient brother myself." Gaara also withdraws from the control of his body. His eyes turned into money eyes, and a Shukaku hand with a violet pattern instantly rose from the ground to resist Kyuubi's claws. Kyuubi snorted, "You haven't even transformed into a tailed beast and you still want to stop me?" Increased the power in his hands. But to Kyuubi's surprise, he was unable to overwhelm Shukaku's hand made of sand. You must know that this was not Shukaku's true body, but was made by Shukaku's chakra. When did Shukaku become so strong, blocking his own claws without transforming into a tailed beast? This is impossible. The other claw also pressed forward, and with a boom, Shukaku's claws and bara were pressed to the ground. Panting, he looked at the ground fiercely. Shukaku would definitely not be crushed to death, but why was there no movement under his paws? He raised his paws in confusion, but there was nothing on the ground except his own paw prints. Use Earth Escape to escape? But I heard Shukaku's voice ringing in my ears. Old Jiu, are you looking for me? Turning his head, he saw Shukaku controlling Gaara's body to step on the sand and float next to Kyuubi's ear. When did you get here? Shukaku said with a straight face. You clearly agreed just now, and the other brothers were all witnesses. Now you actually don't keep your word. I, the eldest brother, must teach you a lesson. Raising his hand, this time it really turned into Shukaku's violet-patterned hand. He punched Kyuubi in the face, sending Kyuubi flying away, overwhelming countless trees, and leaving a trace of more than 10 meters on the ground. Then Gaara also completely transformed into a tailed beast. A huge figure appeared. "Ha ha ha, Lao Jiu, you can't help but beat me for such a small body." Tailed beast Jade. Kyuubi didn't answer. He opened his mouth and blasted out 7-tailed beast Jade. However, Shukaku did not dodge, but when the tailed beast Jade hit Shukaku, it was like a mud cow falling into the sea. Shukaku was instantly devoured, and then he burped and said, "Is that it? Lao Jiu, after 1,000 years, it's still just you can shoot tailed beast Jade. Can you come up with some new tricks?" Now Shukaku, through the method specially given by Rasa, transformed his own chakra into Senjutsu chakra. It is already in 2 forms with other tailed beasts. The advantage is that its strength can increase and it can even leave Gaara's body, but there are also disadvantages. Shukaku has become an individual independent of the 10 tails. He is no longer just the condensed chakra of the 10 tails. If he really dies, he is dead and will not be resurrected. Sure enough, Kyuubi was shocked and said, "How is it possible? Your strength is stronger. Didn't the tailed beast's strength not exceed the upper limit from the moment the old man fixed it? How did you do it?" It's not that Kyuubi can only use the tailed beast jade. On the contrary, the tailed beast jade is the tailed beast's strongest trick. The other tailed beasts have developed other attack methods because their chakra is not as good as the Kyuubi's. Kyuubi has no such scruples and can use tailed beast jade unlimitedly. In the past, when the tailed beast jade hit Shukaku's body, a large crater would explode directly. Although it could be compensated by consuming chakra, there would still be losses. Now Shukaku actually used the properties of sand to forcefully swallow his own tailed beast jade. How could it be possible? Shukaku grinned and said, "Old Jiu, if you want to learn, I'll teach you. Just ask me." "Damn it, don't call me Leojiu. I have a name. I am Jiue, the Nine Lama." Kyuubi roared and once again fired a dozen tailed beast jade in succession. But this time Shukaku didn't take the fight head-on. He had to save his chakra for a while to fight. 5 sand walls were condensed, and Kyuubi's dozen-tailed beast jade hits hit the sand walls, breaking 4 of them one after another. Sand and dust spread everywhere, but they were blocked by the 5th sand wall. Seeing that his attack was blocked again, Kyuubi calmed down. As long as the tailed beast jade is still useful, you can block a dozen or so, but what about the 20 or so? Opened his mouth again and prepared to gather more tailed beast jade. At this time, the ground beneath his feet instantly turned to sand, directly wrapping the 9 tails. He could not open his mouth, so naturally he could not condense the tailed beast jade. Shukaku remembered that Rasa had used this move against him, and it was indeed effective. Kyuubi struggled with all his strength, but the sand tightened tighter and tighter, knowing helplessly that he could not break free. The sand is full of chakra. It is not ordinary chakra. It is full of stronger power. Is this the magic chakra? But how can a tailed beast use senjutsu? After removing the sand from Kyuubi's face, the sunlight shone into Kyuubi's eyes. Shukaku's big face appeared in sight. "How about it? As the 9th oldest brother, I still want to fight with my brother. Do you want to admit defeat? Do you want to call me big brother?" Kyuubi turned his head away and looked arrogant. "Let me call you big brother and you might as well kill me." Everything was just a flash of lightning, and Tenzo wanted to warn Temari that Kyuubi was not Shukaku. It was difficult to speak, and his strength was not comparable to that of Ikibai. It ended in an instant. Kyuubi is indeed not comparable to the one-tailed one. There is no way to compare. He was pressed and beaten the whole time. Is the world so crazy? The Konoha team that followed them were so frightened that they ran away as soon as the Kyuubi appeared. Temari immediately signaled Kinkuro to chase her, as we didn't even have an earth scroll in our hand. After Shukaku finished dealing with Kyuubi, Kinkuro also returned with 5 earth scrolls. At the end of the Death Forest, Sandai chatted with Rasa to divert Rasa's attention, and then came the 9 tails chakra. The 3rd generation looked nervous. Why did Kyuubi go berserk? Not so much. Then came the chakra from 1 tail. Rasa waved her hands and said, "Hokage, please be patient. Since Gaara is here, there will be no problem." Master Kasuke, that is the Kyuubi after all. But before he finished speaking, Kyuubi's chakra uprising stopped. Who is Kyuubi? Except when they were restrained by the 1st generation and Madara. When did they stop rioting? So he was subdued. How long did I feel wrong just now? But he was wrong. How could Luo Sha be wrong? In the past, the 1st tail used the terrain to fight the 9 tails to a draw. But this time it was too fast. Yes, with Gaara's cooperation, neither the 2 tails nor the 8 tails are opponents, and neither does the 9 tails. But in this way, can Jiraiya really restrain Gaara? End of this chapter. Chapter 189. If you call me big brother, then I'll take care of you. Chapter 189. If you call me big brother, then I'll take care of you. Update. Fortunately, there are also the elites of Konoha, the toads of empty, Mayaboku, and the big snakes of Uchiha Cave. It should be fine. Saruto by Hiruzen felt comforted. In the stands on the other side, several Jinchuriki were telling their cage about the battle between the One Tails and the Nine Tails. Now Shukaku was broadcasting the miserable appearance of the Nine Tails live through the tailed beast space. Kyuyubai's impotent rage. You can't kill someone without a nod, Shukaku, you might as well kill me. The tailed beast has been the strongest for thousands of years, and it will be full of dark history after today. In fact, the Kyuyubai already wanted to release the tailed beast and return to Naruto's body, but Shukaku used sand to seal the Kyuyubai's movements, so it could only be displayed here. Finally tired of struggling, Kyuyubai gave up and said, Shukaku, I lose. Tell me, what do you want? Shukaku smiled and said, What do I want to do? We agreed that I would let you out to call me Big Brother. But you didn't admit it and insisted on calling me Big Brother. Call me Big Brother first and listen. Shukaku, don't be arrogant, my other half of chakra is sealed. Otherwise Kyuyubai did not continue. Even with complete chakra, it seemed that Shukaku could not be defeated. What else? You won't shout, right? Kankuro will look for me. Shukaku shouted to Kankuro, holding Kyuyubai's head with one hand and raising his hand in a victory gesture. Kankuro immediately used the seal scroll to take out the camera, and left the photo with a click. Ji Wei, Big Brother, I was wrong. It was Lao Jiu who was not sensible. You, the Big Brother, should not be as knowledgeable as me. Compared to giving in and suffering social death, Kyuyubai decisively chose to give in. Shukaku nodded with satisfaction. You know the truth, otherwise this photo will be the headline in the ninja world tomorrow. You have all heard it, and the Nine Llama recognizes me as his eldest brother. Tail Beast Space. Brother X5. You, the Nine Llamas, have given up, so of course we don't mind. Besides, if you really have to follow the order, the one who will suffer the most is the Nine Tails. Kyuyubai has no love left, and Konoha bullies it. He can live on the job for hundreds of years, but this kind of black history will not disappear for thousands of years. If he had known that he had screamed just now, at least he would still have some dignity. Now all my face is gone. Shukaku removed the sand and Kyuyubai sat quietly on the ground. Shukaku said in surprise, there was no sneak attack. Kyuyubai was dejected. What are you doing for a sneak attack? Are you going to kidnap me again? In just a few years, Kyuyubai felt that the world had changed. He sighed helplessly and prepared to return to Naruto's body. The last bit of consciousness of Naruto and Kushina was dumbfounded. Is this still the lawless Kyuyubai? Especially Kushina. During the third battle, she manipulated the Nine Tails and fought with the One-Tailed. At that time, Feng Fu was stronger than her, and she just used Sanako to draw a tie with her. Gaara was not involved in the whole process just now. Kyuyubai was beaten violently. It is a consensus that tailed beasts controlled by Churiki are stronger than tailed beasts controlled by Unchuriki. The Kyuyubai is also the strongest, but it will no longer be the case in the future. Shukaku grabbed Kyuyubai. Kyuyubai said impatiently, I already call you Big Brother, what else do you want from me? Sand kicked up. Talk to Big Brother like this. Brother, I was wrong. What can you do? You admit that I am your eldest brother, right? Yes, you are my eldest brother. Then if eldest brother comes to see you for something, do you have to give eldest brother some face? You have something to say. Gaara just said that he would help Naruto Uzumaki master your power. Will you give it to your elder brother? Gaara helped him, and he had to support Gaara. Kyuyubai, brother, can you let me go? Shukaku continued, Kurama, you yourself went to Konoha to cause destruction back then. After being beaten to death by Madara Uchiha, you relied on your resurrection to continue provocations. As a result, you were controlled by others, and the first generation developed the Jinchuriki technique. In the end, all of us were dragged into the water. You have blamed Konoha all these years, so should we also blame you for losing our freedom? Kyuyubai was silent. This matter indeed caused all the tailed beasts to suffer. It is true that we have not been very happy in the past few decades, but there is nothing we can do. If we can't beat him, we can't beat him. Fortunately, everyone is in better condition now, and since you all recognize me as your eldest brother, I can guarantee that in the current Jinchuriki after death, I will guarantee your freedom. If any village does not release people by then, I will release you. Not only that, I will also rescue the captured 3 tails and 7 tails. Do you believe me? Kyuubi hesitated. Are you sure? Will Rasa agree? Will Sunagakure village agree? Ku-lama, you underestimate the power of bonds. Let me tell you the truth. Now that I am practicing the ninjutsu given to me by Rasa, I have completely broken away from the shackles of the 10 tails. I can leave Gaara alone at any time if I want. Even if it exists, Gaara won't die. Didn't I just say, if you call me Big Brother, I will teach you? You have all learned it. Even if I don't take action, you can leave by yourself. But this technique is not perfect. After learning it, your strength can increase, but you will no longer be immortal. If you are killed again, you will be unable to be resurrected. The tailed beasts who had been listening in the tailed beast space finally understood why Shukaku was so strong. But the price is losing immortality. Although Kyuubi is extremely distrustful of humans, he now has to believe in Shukaku's promise. Will humans really do this for the tailed beasts? If this is the case, I promise you. Xiao smiled. Is this right? In fact, Lao Jiu, your character should have more contact with humans. Human food is delicious. In Sunagakure village, I endorsed a kind of meatballs, but they are very popular. You just haven't caught up with good people in so many years. Uzumaki Ming, this kid is pretty good, although I haven't been in contact with him. But Luo Sha can't go wrong with the person he praised. I understand. I will try to have good contact with him. Maybe he should change. In the tailed beast space, all the tailed beasts are enjoying themselves with their Jinchuriki, but he is always alone. As Shukaku said, Uzumaki Naruto has indeed made a lot of efforts in the past few years. The most important thing is that he is just like himself, lonely. In fact, Kyuubi has changed its view of Naruto, but it has not reached the critical point of transformation, and it has just arrived now. Shukaku released his tailed beast transformation. Kyuubi also released his tailed beast transformation. In the consciousness space, the returning Kyuubi glanced at Naruto, and the alert Kushina returned to the iron door and took the initiative to close the door. Although he promised Shukaku and Naruto to get along well, how could he speak first after being arrogant for so many years? Seeing that Kushina didn't go berserk, Kushina let go of her worries and prepared to use her last strength to strengthen the seal again, but was stopped by Naruto. No, Mom, I believe in 9 llamas. Kyuubi glanced at Naruto and snorted arrogantly. He seemed a little dissatisfied with Naruto calling him by his first name. He turned his head away but couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth. Kushina smiled. Maybe Naruto can do what Grandma Mido and she couldn't do. It was Luo Sha back then, and she is still Luo Sha now. She really owes a favor that cannot be repaid. If the Kyuubi is not sealed, this little bit of power of his can still exist for a long time. Naruto, tell Mom quickly how you have been doing in the past few years. Finally made up what I owed on Sunday. End of this chapter. Chapter 190, The Arrival of Madara Uchiha. Chapter 190, The Arrival of Madara Uchiha. The irritable Kyuubi was lying quietly aside, and the cell door became a decoration. Listening quietly to Naruto telling what happened in the past few years, Kushina's expression was extremely gentle. She looked at Naruto, who was already as tall as herself, listened to the greatly improved living and growing environment after Jiraiya's return, and how Naruto people want to become Hokage and achieve what Minato failed to achieve. Touching the side of Naruto's face. Sure enough, Mr. Jiraiya is reliable. My Naruto has grown up. Mom can really leave with peace of mind this time. There were tears in Naruto's eyes. Compared with 5 years ago, he was no longer the helpless and confused child. He had found his own way of ninja. I also know the next direction, so I can't let my mother worry. Mom, don't worry, I will definitely become a strong ninja. Kushina nodded, wiped away her tears, smiled and cursed. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. You are not young anymore. Your father already deceived my heart when he was your age. Don't be so hard. Falling in love is also a stage that you must go through in life, but it's better not to find someone with a bad temper like your mother. In love. Naruto smiled bitterly. This was really something he had never thought of. Although Naruto is quite popular now, and many girls have expressed their love for him, they are not attracted to him. Speaking of which, the eldest daughter of the Hyuga family seems to be following me secretly, and I don't know what the situation is. Now Naruto has fully explored his talents. With his keen insight, he has discovered Hinata many times, but he has not exposed her. After all, the Hyuga family is the strongest family in Konoha, and they don't seem to have anything worth coveting. After listening to Naruto's words, Kushina shook her head helplessly. You are a straight man like your father, but knowing that you are so popular makes Mom relieved. My time is up, Naruto. Goodbye. Mom and Dad will always bless you. When the power is exhausted, the body turns into a point of light and dissipates. Naruto bit his lower lip to prevent himself from crying, and tried to look happy and wave to his mother. Red chakra surged out to make up for Naruto's dissipated power. Kyuubi did not turn his head. This kind of concern was already its current limit. Naruto finally broke his tears into laughter. 9 llamas, thank you. HMPH, brat, I'm telling you that I am the strongest tailed beast. To be my Jinchuriki, you must have the strength to match me. Now that we have beaten you a lot, you have to chase me harder. Of course. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, and I do what I say is my ninja way. Outside, Gaara had been observing Naruto's reaction. Seeing that Kyuubi did not go berserk, Naruto's state became calmer, and he knew that a preliminary reconciliation had been reached. Shukaku's voice sounded. Don't worry, even though 9 Llama likes to make trouble, since he promised me, he will definitely do it. Shukaku, I didn't realize that you really act like a big brother. When you say that the Kyuubi is having trouble, you are the same. Why do you make such a bad statement about yourself? Is it because you want to be the big brother so much to save other tailed beasts? Haha, you saw it. Shukaku didn't deny it. It was normal for his tacit understanding with Gaara to be seen. In fact, when the 3 Tails and Nana were captured, he wanted to help, but Rasa hadn't finished yet at that time. Final strength digestion. He also meant it sincerely when he said he wanted to save the 2 of them. After all, we have the same root and the same origin. There was no way to do it before, but now that it can be done, Shukaku wants to give it a try. Thank you so much. Kyuubi's voice came from Naruto's body. Just like Gaara, Gaara has 1 golden eye and 1 normal eye. Naruto also has 1 eye turned into a fox pupil, and 1 eye is his own. The 9-tailed beasts fight and recognize each other. You do have the potential to be a big brother. Tell me how to practice. I'm Kyuubi. It would be too shameful to just wait to be rescued by you. Are you sure that you will have to die after practicing? What are you doing living for so long? Besides, you deserve to be beaten to death despite being able to practice. That's no problem, it's your style. To be honest, I heard what you said a few days ago. Although you are very strong now, you still have to be careful. I feel that Uchiha Madara is nearby. So teach me the method quickly. I don't want to give him control anymore. 9 Tails refers to the exchanges between several tailed beasts in the tailed beast space a few days ago. Because of the forced contract with Uchiha Madara, he already felt that Uchiha Madara was nearby. To say who left the deepest impression on Kyuubi, it would have to be Uchiha Madara. In order to make the original Kyuubi cooperate, He beat Kyuubi into submission. Most of the hatred towards Konoha came from Uchiha Madara. I don't care if Uchiha Madara defected. Anyway, he belonged to Konoha at that time. At this time, Uchiha Madara was far away, his eyes turned into Rinnegan, and he watched the whole battle between Shukaku and Kyuubi. He was also shocked. That kind of fighting power actually belonged to Shukaku? Without relying on the help of the Jinchuriki at all, he relied on Shukaku's power to suppress the 9 tails, allowing the tailed beasts with fixed strength to continue to increase their strength. Luo Sha, you are really amazing, I can't compare to you. Uchiha Madara admitted that Rasa was strong, but he was not discouraged. Only strong people have a way to catch up. Senju Hashirama suppressed him at first, so what no Senju Hashirama's resurrection is no longer Madara's opponent. Madara will not participate in the siege of Rasa. If Rasa is really going to die, the final blow must be his own. This time Madara didn't come by himself, he was followed by Zetsu, Uchiha Itachi and Orochimaru. Zetsu himself wanted to follow, and Uchiha Itachi and Orochimaru, who were born in Konoha, also wanted to come and have a look. The Tsuchikage and Mizukage were there, but Juzo, Kasame, and Deidara didn't want to come. Angle and Hidden, on the other hand, have not returned since they went out. Zetsu's eyes were sharp. According to his idea, all members should be dispatched. If there was a chance, they would all attack Sunagakure village together, but Madara disagreed. Now that I have seen Gaara's performance with my own eyes, I feel more and more difficult to resurrect my mother. In this case, no matter whether you Uchiha Madara agrees or not, I will force you to take action. Several people plan to meet Nagato and Xiaonan. I came to take a look after feeling the Kyuubi's chakra. Orochimaru stuck out his tongue, smiled at Madara and said, Chief, since you don't plan to interfere in Konoha's siege of Rasa, I have some private matters of my own to do, so don't worry. Uchiha Madara frowned and said, Don't affect Konoha, the rest is up to you. How could it be possible? This is a big show that my teacher has worked so hard to arrange. A while ago, Rasa asked herself if she was interested in destroying Konoha, but then she was noticed by Konoha. It was really fate. The masters of the ninja world are all in Konoha, so working with Rasa is much more interesting. Watching Orochimaru leave, Itachi said, I also have something to do, leader. Uchiha Madara waved his hand, I know, go. End of this chapter. Chapter 191 Uchiha Itachi was discovered. Chapter 191 Uchiha Itachi was discovered. Uchiha Madara actually doesn't trust Orochimaru and Itachi very much, or in other words, after experiencing the betrayal of his tribe, no one can trust him anymore. Orochimaru and Itachi's little movements didn't stop, Madara just didn't care. Go to Nagato's location. After being away from Uchiha Madara for a while, Itachi felt at ease. The pressure on Uchiha Madara after his resurrection was too great. And if Konoha loses this big gamble, will it still exist arriving at the Forest of Death? Itachi soon discovered Sasuke's traces. He chased him to an open place, only to find that not only Sasuke, but also another familiar person, Uchiha Izumi. Countless Konoha ninjas were lying in front of Kosovo, Izumi, Uchiha, and Shiro. The only ones standing were Sakura, Ino, Hinata, and Sasuke. This was the result of the 3 showing mercy. Shikamaru and Inuzuka Kiba led the team, plus other Konoha ninjas, for a total of 14 teams and 42 genin. Knowing that Izumi had a kaleidoscope, several people made complete preparations. The Aburame clan took the lead, and 4 candidates from the Aburame clan, led by Shino Aburame, launched an overwhelming swarm of insects. The lethality of this move to the 2 girls was truly astonishing. They immediately caused physical discomfort, and they all hid behind Bai. Although the Uchiha clan is good at fire escape, it is a pity that Izumi is not good at it. Using Susanna to kill insects is no different from using a cannon to kill mosquitoes. Bai sighed helplessly and formed a seal with one hand. Freezing wind. Cold air came out of his mouth. The air around him suddenly condensed, and the grass and trees were covered in white frost. Konoha's side was still proud at first. The insects of the Abiram clan were naturally restrained in dealing with women. Even their own Hinata and Ino didn't go too far. But when Bai took action, the icy cold air spread quickly, and the bugs in the sky were instantly frozen and fell to the ground. Yesterday it was fire, today it is ice. Why are they all ninjutsu that can defeat Insectus' escape blood successor? So he is from the Shuiwayu clan Konoha, and the others still wanted to disperse. But it was too late. Wherever the cold air passed, not only the insects were frozen, but the feet of each Konoha ninja were also frozen. The weak ones were almost instantly paralyzed, and they watched helplessly. His feet condensed into ice cubes. Then climb up quickly along your legs. In a few seconds, dozens of ice sculptures appeared on the battlefield. Only a few Konoha ninjas escaped the ice. But he was also suffering from frostbite. His movements were slow, and the eyes he looked at the three of them were full of fear. I originally thought that Izumi was the only one who would be difficult to deal with. But I didn't expect that there was also Haku from the Minazuki clan. With his skill in ice escape, I'm afraid even the leading Jounin couldn't stop him. Don't come here. Inuzuka Kiba and Shikamaru had completely given up on the idea of revenge, and regretted provoking Sunagakure village again and again. Haven't you seen your fathers hiding when they saw Luo Sha? Who gave themselves the courage? Is it too late to regret? No, compared to the boys crying in pain. Hinata and Ino trembled and stood in front of them. Hinata put on a fighting stance, and Ino used palm senjutsu to restore his slightly injured companion. If you want to deal with our companions, you must get through me first. Then Sasuke arrived. He originally wanted to see if something would happen to Sister Quan, but he saw that Shiro had knocked down almost everyone in Konoha with one move. Are we really the same age? Why is the gap in strength so big? Zhang Lion came up unceremoniously and took away the scrolls from each team, complaining in a low voice, "This has no training effect at all. It is better to let Gaara deal with it from the beginning. You guys should find someone to rescue them quickly. They will be killed if it is too late. Don't hold us responsible for frostbite." There was no intention of killing them all. Hinata and Ino nodded and set off the fireworks to admit defeat. Uchiha Izumi then stepped forward and said, "Sasuke, are you here to care about me?" "No, my teammates are very powerful. Even if I turn on the kaleidoscope, I can't beat them at all." Zhang Phosphorus's diamond chain and Bai's ice release, both of them have a higher fighting consciousness than Uchiha Izumi, so Izumi is really not being modest. Among the three, she has indeed the lowest fighting ability. Sasuke smiled awkwardly. Sister Quan is the lowest. Your Sunagakure village is simply a monster village. Then several people felt the violent chakra appearing in the forest, and the expressions of Sakura and Sasuke changed. Sakura said, "No, it's Kyubai's chakra. Something happened to Naruto?" Sasuke said, "Damn it, Naruto, you are still worried about me. Something happened to you first. We will go there right away." There are several people in a team. They have also seen Naruto go berserk and recognized the chakra of Kyuubi. Although the two of them may not be able to do anything, they should stay with their companions. Sasuke even regretted that he should not have been separated from Naruto if he had known that Sister Quan was so strong. However, Quan and the other three did not panic. They felt it carefully, then pulled the master and said, "No need. That's the direction of Gaara. Everything will be fine." "Sister Izumi, you may not know that the 9 tails are inside Naruto." "What's wrong with Kyuubi?" Quan asked curiously. "Isn't Kyuubi also a tailed beast?" "Don't worry. The 9 tails is very..." Sasuke explained that the 9 tails was very strong. Every time the 9 tails went berserk, Teacher Jiraiya had to turn on Sage mode to suppress it. Besides, Gaara is 1-tailed. Can he beat the 9 tails? But before he could say anything, Kyuyubi's riot stopped. Don't worry, it doesn't matter who the Nine Tails faces among the 9 of us. But it should be the Nine Tails' luck that he met Gaara. That Shukaku guy has wanted to help his brother for a long time. Kaoru put away the scroll of loot and explained to Sasuke. Sasuke and Sakura were both confused. Why were they so understated? That was the Kyuubi who almost destroyed Konoha several times. At this time, Hinata had the courage to ask, Naruto, is Naruto-kun really okay? Shiro smiled softly. Shukaku, Naruto will be fine. Don't worry, I can see that you care about Naruto. There is no connection between the gentle person and the person who just made the move, which makes people believe it unconsciously. Hinata bowed and said, thank you, Sister Puff. X2 Although they are used to being mistaken for nothing, Quan and Xiangling still couldn't help but laugh out loud. Who makes you look more feminine than the 2 of us? You are so gentle and graceful. Bai was used to it and smiled lightly. I'm a boy, huh? XN. Hinata, Sakura, and Ino all exclaimed. She's so beautiful and she's actually a boy. Hinata looked down at her chest and regained some confidence. Sakura and Ino also lowered their heads, squatted on the ground and started drawing circles. At this time, the 3 examiners in charge of Konoha also came to rescue the Konoha ninjas who were frozen in white. Konoha ninjas everywhere, and the uninjured Sunagakure crushed them at this time. The 3 people who were supposed to leave were alert at the same time. Shiro casually hit the ice sunbeam and shot it into the depths of the forest. Then Itachi jumped out. Sasuke and Izumi, we haven't seen each other for a long time. End of this chapter. Chapter 192. Uchiha Itachi was so angry that he lost control. Chapter 192. Uchiha Itachi was so angry that he lost control. Wearing a cloak embroidered with red clouds and hanging on the clothes with one hand, Itachi raised his head. Sasuke and Izumi were both stunned. Xiangling immediately made a cut sound and said, Who gave you the courage to act cool in front of us? 6 diamond chains flew out of his body, and they were drawn towards Itachi Uchiha with lightning speed. He was too fast to dodge. The next moment, Itachi's Susanoo first form was activated, blocking the first blow of Uchiha. But as the stick to the face kept hitting Susan like a whip, Susan began to collapse. With the second blow, cracks appeared in Susanoo's body. With the third blow, the crack widened. With the fourth blow, the cracks expanded to the entire body. With the fifth blow, Susanoo was completely shattered. The last 6th chain came right after, and Itachi dodged in embarrassment, but the Vajra chain continued to pursue it as if it had a tracking function. Although Itachi was fast, the Vajra chain was even faster, and finally caught up with Itachi's clothes, and in an instant he exerted force. He spun the Itachi around, and it took him a few moments to release his strength before he stabilized his figure. However, most of Akatsuki's cloak was broken, and he was lying on his hands and feet like a dog. His face was covered with dirt and grass clippings, and he was very embarrassed. He no longer looked as handsome as before. Quan couldn't help but laugh. The ninjas of Konoha pulled their own people back to prevent the battle from affecting them. That was Itachi Uchiha, but luckily he didn't seem to be dealing with Sunagakure. Sasuke looked at Itachi blankly, thinking about how to question him after meeting him many times. The first thing he thought about was the memories of himself and his brother. He gritted his teeth and said, Itachi, why did you do that back then? You can kill yourself for the sake of the village. A tribesman? Uchiha Itachi, Sasuke, are you questioning your brother? With so many survivors, Sasuke would definitely not be able to transfer all his hatred to himself as planned. But how did the 3rd generation guide Sasuke after so many years? Uchiha Itachi was very angry. In this case, what was the point of the original late 3rd generation is also helpless. How can I guide him so that Sasuke doesn't hate the village? It's not easy. With so many survivors being protected by Luo Sha, The most I can do is this. Besides, when Uchiha Itachi lost the kaleidoscope, Uchiha Madara was resurrected, and Sasuke didn't have the Kyuubi in his body. How much care did you want me to give you? Even the information you and Uchiha Itachi sent back won't make much sense when they are allied with MT. Mayaboku. For so many years, I cared less about Uchiha Itachi than I cared about Rasa's opinion. I even lamented countless times that Rasa could have just taken Sasuke away. Sasuke said sadly, "Brother, do you know how sad I feel every time those grandparents treat me as their deceased grandson and take care of me in every possible way? Both you and your father have betrayed the family. They should obviously hate me, but no one blames me, and they all take good care of me. I don't understand why you did that in the first place. Even if the village wants to deal with Uchiha, you shouldn't be the one to raise the butcher's knife." The radical ones all went to Sunagakure village, and the ones who stayed behind were all nostalgic for old friendships. On the contrary, they felt sorry for Sasuke even more, and made Sasuke feel caring and painful at the same time. Uchiha Itachi sighed. He never thought it would end like this. The conflict between the village and the family can no longer be reconciled. I just made my choice, and so did my father and mother. The choices we make are our own responsibility. Sasuke, you should understand us. I cannot understand. Sasuke gritted his teeth. He already knew basically what happened back then, so the village treated him coldly. Uchiha Izumi couldn't stand it anymore. That's enough, Itachi. That's your choice, not Sasuke's choice, nor the choice of the rest of the Uchiha clan. You have no right to make choices for others, even Sasuke. He has his own life and doesn't need you to impose it on him. Itachi has complicated eyes. Quan, don't even you understand me? Izumi looked at Itachi pitifully. Itachi, admitting that you were wrong, is it so difficult? If you really think you did the right thing, why do you need Sasuke and I to understand? Zhang Liao snorted coldly. We normal people can't understand it, right? Who would kill everyone in his family? If you are sick, others are not. Uchiha Itachi roared. You are not an Uchiha and you don't understand at all. The clansmen who have been blinded by hatred will only destroy the village. Koro retorted. I don't understand. I only know that Konoha was founded by Senju and Uchiha. But now that Senju is gone and Uchiha is gone, what does it mean to be blinded by hatred? I only know that for every household in Konoha and Uchiha has heroes who died in battle, but the treatment they received was to be ostracized and mistrusted by the village, and in the end they were exterminated. Uchiha did not fail Konoha, but Konoha failed Uchiha. Enough. Itachi Uchiha was a little angry. Ever since he was defeated by Luo Sha and lost his eyes and replaced them with his mother's eyes, his psychology has long been distorted and he is no longer as calm and rational as he once was. He was repeatedly retorted with facts by Zhang Phosphorus, but he had no words to refute. His eyes turned into kaleidoscopes, and he used Amaterasu, but the next moment, Suzanu's arm blocked Karin's face. Amaterasu burned on Susanna's arm, but did not harm Karin. Zhang Phosphorus also prepared the fire seal, but he didn't use the best one. He mocked, because you can't talk, why don't you just do it? Itachi said in shock. Kaleidoscope, have you turned on the spring too? Quan felt a little sad for Itachi. Itachi, don't indulge in self-impression. No matter what your reasons are, Konoha has not become better now, and the Uchiha who came to Sunagakure village have already become one with the people of Sunagakure village. Likewise, it's the police department. Konoha wants to isolate Uchiha from the village. Lord Rasa wants to integrate Uchiha into the villagers. Lord Rasa is right. Uchiha are a clan with strong feelings. If hatred is strong, then love will also be strong, and human emotions are not only hate. Luo Sha, it's because of him that the ninja world has become like this. Don't mention him to me. It seemed like he was back 5 years ago, the day he ran away in embarrassment and lost his Sharingan. Driven by strong hatred, Itachi re-evolved his mother's eyes into a kaleidoscope in just 1 year. However, Itachi knew that he was no match for Rasa. There will never be a day of revenge in this life, so I can only wait. Now I have finally waited for Konoha's plan, and I also came back with Uchiha Madara to see if I can help. But he was hit one after another by Xianglin Izumi. I just want the village to be stable and harmonious. Why does no one understand? Mesusenu instantly evolved into a complete body, and Izumi Uchiha also opened up the complete Susanoo. Bi-hexing Phosphorus wanted to help, but Quan said directly, "Bi-hexing Phosphorus, I will solve this matter myself." Chains and air conditioning withdrawn. The two Susanas collided violently. End of this chapter. Chapter 193 Uchiha Itachi was beaten. Chapter 193 Uchiha Itachi was beaten. The same red Susanoo with 2 wings on the back. Uchiha Itachi's Susanoo has a 10-fist sword and a 8-foot mirror. Izumi's Susanoo has no weapons, but has a layer of gloves on his hands. Like Izumi, he prefers close combat type. Anyone can tell that Uchiha Itachi's Susanoo is stronger. Itachi Uchiha tentatively slashed out a sword, but Izumi used the glove on Susanoo's wrist to block it. The sword and the glove intersect, making a bang sound. Uchiha Itachi was a bit unexpected, and Izumi's Susanoo's strength was surprisingly good. You must know that Uchiha Itachi is a genius of the Uchiha clan. Susanoo awakened at an earlier age than Shisui, and Uchiha Izumi's talent can only be considered average among the Uchiha clan. Although the 3 Madatama has been activated, the Uchiha clan has never lacked 3 Madatama clan members. What they lack is the kaleidoscope. As for Manjikayo, Itachi's eyes were taken away by Rasa and are now reopened with his mother's eyes, so his pupil power is stronger, several times what it was 5 years ago. In addition, after changing the eyes, it unintentionally made up for the defect of blindness caused by excessive consumption of pupil power. He also practiced senjutsu, and his physical quality was further enhanced. Now Itachi is by no means inferior to Madara Uchiha, who once did not get Hashirama cells. He wasn't that serious about fighting Izumi, thinking he could definitely win. But when the 10-fist sword slashed at Izumi's Susanoo, I realized that Izumi's Susanoo was not weak, at least not much weaker than my own Susanoo. Itachi, you will suffer a loss if you underestimate me. Izumi gathered strength and suddenly accelerated, leaving a phantom on the spot. The next moment, he rushed in front of Itachi and punched Itachi's Susanoo hard. Itachi hurriedly raised the 8-foot mirror shield, but the huge power was still there. Directly knocked Itachi's Susanoo away. Except for bi-hexing Phosphorus, this result was beyond everyone's expectations. Although the ninjas of Konoha led everyone to a safe area, they still did not go far. The battle between the Susanas was unprecedented even in Konoha. Besides, this is also important information. It is said that Uchiha Itachi is the genius of the Uchiha clan, and Uchiha Izumi is just an ordinary ninja. I thought Itachi would have the upper hand, but it turned out that Izumi was stronger. Sasuke was also very shocked. He had never seen his brother in such a miserable state in his memory. On the other side, Uchiha Itachi stood up again and was not seriously injured. Their attacks were all tests. However, his own temptation was easily caught by Quan, but Quan's temptation was so strong that he couldn't catch it at all. However, Itachi has almost seen Izumi's tricks. Compared to his own Susanoo, Izumi's Susanoo pays more attention to melee combat. Although each Susanoo has a strong melee ability, there must be some differences in strength and weakness. Although he possesses the Juken sword and the 8-foot mirror, which combine offense and defense, Izumi's Susanoo weapon is a glove, which is more powerful in close combat, and when he raises his wings he can accelerate instantly. But it is still the same as before. Without Susanoo, Izumi is just a ninja who is only proficient in taijutsu. Uchiha cannot master the most basic fire escape. Now that he has awakened the main Jikaiou, Susanna is still good at close combat. Unfortunately, I, Uchiha Itachi, am omnipotent. When Susanaka turned on Amaterasu, a huge black flame blackened half of the sky and burned towards the Uchiha spring, but was blocked by Susanna and did not burn the body. But that's enough. Blocking Amaterasu requires consuming pupil power. Izumi's pupil power will definitely not be able to support it for a long time, and it is impossible to be stronger than himself after changing his eyes and being reborn. However, Uchiha Itachi was disappointed. After burning for a full 2 minutes, Izumi still blocked it easily, showing no sign of exhaustion. On the contrary, because I have been increasing the output of maintaining Amaterasu, even after strengthening it, the consumption at this moment is a bit high, and a trace of blood and tears began to flow from the corner of my eyes. Izumi seized the opportunity, and Susanna immediately spread her wings and flew into the sky. If it weren't for the fear that Amaterasu would involve innocent people, Izumi would have been able to break free from Amaterasu long ago. It spun, accelerated, and spiraled down. Itachi quickly dodged, and a 3-meter deep hole was created where he stood. However, it was not over yet. Before the dust and smoke cleared, Izumi's Susan jumped out, grabbed Itachi's Susan's ankle, and started throwing him left and right that he loved to see. The rough method stunned Itachi, and it took him a long time to recover from the tremor. He swung down the 10-fist sword, and when Izumi raised his hand to block it, he broke free from the restraint and flew out of the distance. However, the continuous fighting consumed a lot of chakra and eye power, and Itachi began to breathe heavily. On the other hand, Quan's face was neither red nor out of breath, and he seemed to have consumed nothing. It doesn't make sense. Uchiha Itachi couldn't figure out how Izumi's eye power could be stronger than his own. He had already consumed 1/3 of his eye power, but Izumi was still like a normal person. You must know that you have changed your eyes. It seems that I can't keep my hand. Itachi originally felt a little guilty towards Quan and never took action with all his strength. He was also absolutely confident in his own strength. With his own strength, he should be able to deal with Quan easily, but he didn't expect the reality to be a slap in the face. In this case, there can be no delay. Quan, I'm going to attack with all my strength, magic mode. Natural energy gathered, and black eyeshadow appeared under Uchiha Itachi's eyes. Susanna became more powerful. He rushed towards Izumi's Susanna and punched him down, forcing Izumi's Susanna to take a step back. Only took one step back. Uchiha Itachi was surprised. How could it be possible? I had activated the Senjutsu mode, and Susanna's power had tripled, but he only managed to take one step back. Even if they are not broken up directly, it is normal to fight them off. How could they just take a step back? You just fought me and you didn't use your full strength. Uchiha Itachi asked in disbelief. Quan shook his head. No, I have been using all my strength, and I have not held back. Itachi, you are too confident. If you had used your current full strength from the beginning, I might really be in a hard fight. The next moment, Quan's aura continued to rise, his whole body emitted light, and he also entered the fairy magic mode. The advantage Itachi had just gained dissipated in an instant, and was directly suppressed by Izumi, whose power surged with the blessing of magic. Not only that, Izumi's Susanna was also wrapped with a substantial light wave formed by his thoughts, which directly shattered half of Itachi's Susanna's body with one punch. Uchiha Itachi spit out a mouthful of blood and shed a lot of tears of blood from his eyes. Uchiha Itachi did not give up, quickly repaired Susanna, then condensed Yasaka Magatama in his hand and threw it at Uchiha Izumi like a shuriken. Izumi gathered the fluctuations of telekinesis into his fist, hit Yasaka Magatama, and exploded with a boom. Then Uchiha Itachi quickly appeared in front of Izumi, grabbed Izumi's Susan with both hands, then closed his right eye, and opened Tsukuyomi with his left eye with all his strength. I'm sorry, Izumi, I wanted to win openly and squarely, but now I can rely on illusions now. End of this chapter. Chapter 194 Sasuke&amp #039's Determination. Chapter 194 Sasuke's Determination. Itachi has already recognized the reality. Izumi's hard power is superior to his, and he is no match for Izumi even in the Senjutsu mode. Moreover, Izumi also has Senjutsu mode and does not have an advantage. But since losing to Luo Sha, there is no way out for him to fail. So we must win this time! Although Izumi is very strong, no one is strong in all aspects. The attack method is always only physical skills, and ninjutsu and illusion are not outstanding. Although Itachi couldn't suppress Izumi with his taijutsu and ninjutsu, he still had Tsukuyomi and other gods. After so many years, other gods have been able to use it. It was originally reserved for dealing with Luo Sha, but now it has to be used in advance. However, to Itachi's surprise, when Tsukuyomi activated, Izumi was not pulled into Tsukuyomi's illusion, which made Itachi's original idea of using Tsukuyomi to create false memories and then use other gods to consolidate them come to nothing. This is impossible. Unless Izumi's eye power is several times higher than his own, and his genjutsu attainments are several times higher than his own, he can only do it. But even Uchiha Madara can't do it. Is your illusion so strong? I don't believe it. Itachi, it's not that my genjutsu is very strong. Aren't you curious why I'm getting stronger and stronger? That's because my kaleidoscope and the ability of my left eye are causal gain. The longer you fight with me, the more the strength, defense, and speed will also continue to increase. The ability of the right eye is mountain-like, which can be immune to all illusion attacks, so you should not think about using Shisui's other gods. Even if other gods attack me, it's also ineffective. Luo Sha has already verified this with other gods. Unless he dealt with Izumi with all his strength from the beginning, Itachi might still have a chance to win. After such a long period of increase, there was no chance of winning at all. As for the illusion, it has no effect at all. Zhang Lion said, Uchiha Itachi's strongest method has no effect on Izumi. This battle can be over. Shiro agreed. In a fight with Izumi, we can only fight quickly, otherwise neither Gaara nor Kimimaro will be sure of victory. Gaara and Kimimaro once tried to let Izumi grow indefinitely. As a result, Izumi's power was so terrifying that it could crush both of them. In the end, if Izumi hadn't reached the limit of his body's load, it would be hard to say who would win and who would lose. So the best way to deal with Quan is to defeat her initially. After listening to Quan's narration, Itachi knew that he had no chance of victory, and couldn't help but smile bitterly. So was fate kidding him after 5 years of hard work? This is the end at this time. Zhang Lion walked up and directly used a set of sealing techniques to restrain Uchiha Itachi. Although Izumi didn't put much effort into subduing Uchiha Itachi, he was beaten almost the whole time. It can only be said that they are mutually reinforcing each other. Kaoru and Shirakami can defeat Uchiha Itachi, but it will never be that easy. First of all, they have to guard against Itachi's Amaterasu, unlike Izumi Itachi Susanoo who can resist hard, and secondly, there are no passive skills that ignore illusions. If Itachi really seizes the opportunity, the power of Tsukuyomi plus being a god cannot be underestimated. But fortunately, even if they were fighting, the two of them never thought about fighting alone. Together, they could ensure that they could quickly defeat Itachi Uchiha. Izumi grabbed Itachi's crow and took off Shisui's other Baitenjin. Then he came to Itachi, and Sasuke followed him. Before Itachi was caught, Sasuke did not want Sister Izumi to be defeated, but once Itachi was caught, Sasuke became worried about his brother again. And seeing his once genius brother being effortlessly defeated by Sister Quan, Sasuke still felt a little awkward in his heart. His brother had failed like this. Sister Quan, what are you going to do with Itachi? Sasuke asked cautiously. Although he had a good relationship with Izumi, there were 2 camps now, and the captain of Izumi's team was Karin. Quan threw it directly at Xiang Ling and said, Captain, what do you think should be done? Xiang Phosphorus is in some trouble. It is said that it would be best to kill him, but the relationship between Quan and Itachi, as well as Itachi's strength. It's up to Uncle Rasa to make the decision, but for safety's sake, I want to take away Itachi's Sharingan first. Koro threw the ball to Rasa, but he still had to guard against Itachi. Fortunately, Koro's medical ninjutsu was superb, and he painlessly took away Itachi's Sharingan, and then sealed it. Sasuke opened his mouth and had no objection. The Sunagakure village could handle it this way just for the sake of Sisters Izumi. How could he stop it as a Konoha ninja? Just said, "Sister Quan, can I have a few words with my brother alone?" Quan apologized to his friends. Zhang Lu and Bai said it didn't matter, and they walked away some distance. Izumi patted Sasuke's head and left. Sasuke looked at his brother in such embarrassment with confusion, and couldn't help but said, "Brother, do you regret it?" Although Itachi's Sharingan was taken away again and Shisui's main Jikaiyo was lost, the psychic crow could still share the vision without affecting his vision. At this moment, a crow stood on Itachi's shoulder, and Itachi turned to Sasuke. "Regret? Maybe. But Sasuke, are you sure you want to be so close to me? Although I am restricted, I can still take away your eyes in an instant and escape." Sasuke subconsciously took a step back, then shook his head slightly. If my brother really wanted to do this, he wouldn't have said it. Itachi looked up and Raven looked to the sky. Honestly, I feel a little relieved now. Although being defeated by Quan is a bit unacceptable, I am indeed not capable enough. But Quan is right. I should apologize to you. I have no right to choose life for you. If it was natural to be defeated by Luo Sha, there would still be a chance to make a comeback, but now being defeated by Quan again, the belief in his heart has been shattered. Konoha, it's not that he didn't work hard, it's that he really wasn't strong enough. There is indeed regret, but today, regret has no meaning. Brother, actually I also like Konoha. Sasuke lamented that he had tried to understand his father and brother's thoughts over the years. So although he knew the truth, he did not hate Konoha, but mainly felt guilty towards the Uchiha people. Uchiha Itachi suddenly didn't understand what his brother meant. Sasuke continued, "It is precisely because I like Konoha that Konoha should be allowed to get on the normal track. I think what my brother did at the beginning was wrong. Liking is not a bottomless sacrifice. If my father and brother could stand up for it back then, if you stand firmly on the side of the family, maybe the outcome will be different." Perhaps the conflict between the family and Konoha has been deep, but it is not impossible to reconcile. I heard about the way Sunagakure and Uchiha get along. Maybe that is the right way. If we had enough strength back then, we would have gradually changed yourself, and with the strength of my father and brother, it may not be impossible. Uchiha Itachi was silent. Maybe Sasuke was right, but it was meaningless now. Sasuke said seriously, "Of course I know that it is meaningless to talk about the possibility of what has happened, so I plan to do it myself. Brother, I decided not to be confused anymore. I want to prove that you were wrong. What Sunagakure village has done, I can do it too. From today on, I, Sasuke, will target the Hokage and let Konoha village shine with the true will of fire again." End of this chapter. Chapter 195 The Result That Embarrasses Konoha. Chapter 195 The Result That Embarrasses Konoha. Itachi looked at Sasuke with absent-minded eyes. Today, I got to know my brother again, became Hokage, and re-guided Konoha. Maybe this path is difficult, but maybe it is the right one. Sasuke's eyes brightened. Once upon a time, Konoha was founded by us Uchiha together with the Senju clan. I want to be the Hokage and let the villagers of Konoha eliminate their prejudice against Uchiha. I know that many people have not chosen to go to Sunagakure village. I will try my best to let the villagers of Konoha eliminate their prejudice against Uchiha. If they see it, let them return to Konoha. Itachi shook his head slightly. His brother was more amazing than himself and his father. Not far away, Xiangling saw that Uchiha Itachi had no movement and was relieved. In fact, she did it on purpose and did not completely limit Uchiha Itachi's power. If Uchiha Itachi really broke out and took away Sasuke's eyes, then there is no need to wait for Uncle Luo Sha to give up. Xianglin waved his hand and there were Suna ninjas coming from a distance. There were also Suna ninjas in Konoha village. They had to take the exam, so naturally they couldn't bring Itachi with them. The Suna ninja took Itachi away. The Konoha ninja who had been maintaining order was hesitant to speak but never stopped him. He could not stop him. He just wanted to say that Uchiha Itachi was actually our rebellious ninja of Konoha. After settling everything, the three of them naturally took the scrolls to join Luo Sha. Sister Quan, thank you. I know what I should do in the future. Sasuke has found his own way of ninja. I am also very happy. Don't think too much. If you need help, just write to me. There are many people in Sunagakure who still want to help you. Then each left. Compared to the exciting battle between Gaara and the other three, Kimamero's side seemed a bit too ordinary. In the open space, all the Konoha ninjas who came to pursue them had fallen to the ground. In the face of absolute strength, even nearly 100 people would have no effect. It was still Ziluo who took the lead and dealt with them all. Seeing that Kimamero was very unhappy, if he took action, there would definitely be countless casualties. The fifth door open. The only one still standing on the field was Xiao Lai. Even Neji and Tenten were unable to stand up. Xiao Lai could still fight not because of his strength, but because Luo wanted to see the 8-gate dungeon. Although there are 8 gates of dungeon that can be practiced, it only reaches the 3rd gate, and any further practice will conflict with the 7-day breathing method. So after dealing with most of the people, Xiao Lai was left alone to familiarize himself with the 8-gate dungeon. With the continuous fighting, the final breath that had already taken shape was almost perfected. Xiao Lai is getting weaker and weaker as he fights. Is it because his efforts are not enough? Opposite person is obviously about the same age as himself. So why is there such a big gap? Even if the door is opened and all the weight is released, there is still no way to cause effective damage to the opponent. He didn't even know what the other party's reason was. If he really exerted his strength, he would have fallen down long ago. Xiao Lai is unwilling to accept that his youth should not end like this. Konoha Dragon God. Rotating his body, he used the Konoha Dragon God by opening the 5 gates of the 8-gate dungeon, and the tornado turned into a giant dragon. This is the strongest attack that Xiao Lai can currently use. Luo's eyes lit up, and there was an attack method that she had never seen before. Konoha's taijutsu was indeed numerous. He caught the Konoha Dragon God with both hands, then rotated in the opposite direction, using the power of rotation to offset the Konoha Dragon God, and then slashed the back of Xiao Lai's neck with a hand knife. Thank you, but Kimamero should be angry if we keep playing. Xiao Lai fell backwards. With such strong physical skills, only Teacher Kai could stop him. Seeing that Murasaki ended the battle, Kimamero stood up and stretched his muscles. It was really boring. The problem was that he seemed to be the only one in the group who was boring. A battle between the Kyuubi seemed to have broken out on Gaara's side. Not weak chakra also appeared in the direction of Xiang Phosphorus. Why are the 3 of them surrounded by these weak and shabby genin? If Shiro hadn't stopped him, Kimamero would have definitely given them a hard time. Luo, you have understood the ultimate breath, and you want to compete with me 10 times. No problem. Luo agreed. Through the battle with Xiao Lai, I can basically determine the direction of the ultimate breathing. The only difference is the actual combat. I hope I can be satisfied with it in a while. Not long after the few people left, Xiaonan chased after them in the forest. Several people had also met Xiaonan just now. Ziluo said, "What's the matter with you coming here again? The intelligence is wrong." It's not only Maya Amu Mountain but also Yuji Cave that ambushed Luo Sha. We should find a way to tell Feng Ying to leave quickly. There is no way he can win against two 6th-level people. Xiaonan wanted to send a message to Luo Sha, but couldn't get close. He finally met the 3 of them and immediately told them the latest information. Kimimero said happily, "Where are the 2 great immortals?" Master Luo Sha should be satisfied this time. Zai Luo also nodded. "That's right, we'll find it together to save you money." Xiaonan said anxiously, "Hey, do you know what the strength of the 6th path level means? Feng Ying cannot be 1 against 2. Zai Luo said, "Thank you for sending the message, but don't worry, this is also part of Master Luo Sha's plan." Xiaonan said speechlessly, "Forget it, you don't understand, I'll just go find Zai." "No need." Orochimaru came out from the other side and Conan immediately became alert. "Orochimaru? Is Madara here too?" Orochimaru looked at Conan very curiously. He had never heard that Conan was also a member of Luo Sha. He saw at a glance that it was a paper clone and replied, "It should have merged with your original body now. Don't worry, we are a team of..." After saying that, he came to Zhongwu's side and transformed into Zhongwu, and a sand gold Luo Sha split out of Zhongwu's body and said to Xiaonan, "Well, thank you very much, Xiaonan, don't worry, I won't joke with my life of..." Then he said to Orochimaru, "You're just in time, otherwise you won't be able to catch the show in time. So hurry up and hurry up, but Madara is here too, won't it affect the plan?" Luo Sha said confidently, "Madara has little impact on the battle situation. If you want to be my enemy, you'd better succeed the first time, otherwise you won't have a chance the second time." "I quite agree." Conan looked at Orochimaru's transformed Jugo and then at Rasa's clone. The 2 of them were singing along, not taking the situation in front of them seriously at all. "I really don't understand where Luo Sha got the courage to jump into the trap even though she knew she was being plotted against." The eyes turned into divine power and drew Jugo into the space, signaling for Murasaki, Kimimero and Orochimaru's transformed Jugo to take the first step. Then he said to Xiaonan, "Xiaonan, the trap will only work if you don't know it, otherwise it will be a joke. Again, let Nagato stay away from me. I won't be able to control it when it comes to fighting." The placer gold clone disappeared and returned to its true body. In the Forest of Death, after receiving the memories from the clones and the returning divine power, both Shin and Jugo expressed their readiness in the space. Not far away, Gaara and others also returned from different directions. Saruto by Hiruzen's face was ashen. Although he was well prepared, it was still embarrassing that no team of Konoha ninjas came back. As expected, Sunagakure village cannot be allowed to grow. Following Saruto by Hiruzen's gesture, everyone began to prepare. Just when Gaara and others returned and Rasa stood up, as if they were least prepared, Saruto by Hiruzen immediately launched the combat gesture. The air trembled as Miyamu Mountain appeared out of thin air and was about to swallow everyone inside. End of this chapter. Chapter 196. You don't know the power of the strong one. Chapter 196. You know nothing about the power of the strong. Mayabukayama appeared, and the ninjas of Konoha immediately prepared. Hiruzen Sarutobai, Koharu, and Mido Katani immediately took off the Hokage hat and outer clothes, revealing the combat clothes underneath. Danzo ducked onto the stage and surrounded Rasha, 3 in front and 1 in back. Yikang and Zia looked as usual, not even looking at the 4 of them. Below, Maki, Haikuzu, and Yashimaru were surrounded by Konoha's ninjas. The returned Gaara, Temari, and Kankuro, Kimimero, Jugo, Murasaki, as well as Karin, Shiro, and Uchiha Izumi were all surrounded respectively. Just wait for Miyamu Mountain to completely swallow everyone in, and then start the surprise battle. However, Hiruzen Sarutobai felt uneasy looking at the unusually calm people in Sunagakure village. Rasa's performance was too calm and composed. Even if you are the best master in the ninja world, with your current posture, even if you have confidence in yourself, will my subordinates not care about it? Luo Sha is famous for being a considerate subordinate and caring for the villagers. And you and everyone in Sunagakure village don't take us Konoha seriously at all. What's going on? Have you forgotten the decades of being suppressed and beaten by Konoha? Even though we are strong, this is Konoha, our territory, and we are surrounded by enemies several times our size. Various visions reveal the uneasy development direction. Saruto by Herzen cast his gaze further away, where the three shadows of earth, water, and thunder were. Even they were calm and did not show any sign. Saruto by Herzen understood in an instant. Today's assassination plan must have been known to Luo Sha, otherwise it would be impossible to react like this. The Tsuchikage, Mizukage, and Reikage must have betrayed themselves. Yes, they all surrendered to Luo Sha. How could they not have a surrender certificate? Fortunately, I thought that the three major ninja villages were trying to take advantage, but it turned out that they completely fell in love with Luo Sha. Fortunately, I had already planned for this and did not completely trust the three great ninja villages. Although once the three major ninja villages join, the balance of strength on the battlefield will be unbalanced, but once they enter the Miyamu Mountain, everything will no longer be a problem. When they solve the Sunagakure village, they will naturally know who to choose. There are not many Konoha ninjas responsible for guarding the Tsuchikage, Mizukage, and Reikage in the distance. If you want to completely guard against the three shadows, you need at least a strong lineup to besiege Rasa off the field. What is here is a symbolic obstruction. It only takes a while for Miyamashin to move the battlefield. The Tsuchikage, Mizukage, and Reikage looked at the Konoha ninjas besieging the field. To give you a quick overview, thanks to the return of Rasa's life, there are quite a few shadow-level people including Hinata, the Inazukacho clan, Inuzuka, the Aburame clan, Kakashi, Guy, and others, at least a dozen or so shadow-level people. Not only that, Jiraiya and Tsunade haven't been seen yet. It should be said that it is indeed Konoha. Other ninja villages cannot put together such luxurious combat power. Anoki hesitated and said, "Are we really not going to take action and just watch here?" Terumi May said, "Let's just follow Master Luosha's orders." "Didn't you see that Master Luosha didn't react at all?" AI said, "Yes, in such a close situation, immediate rescue can be done in time. Besides, don't underestimate the no one in the ninja world. Master Luo Sha is the first person to beat me head-on and lose my temper. He has the fastest at this speed and this distance. It only takes a few seconds for several people to rush to help." The chatter and laughter of several people made the Konoha ninjas present feel nervous in their throats. Not to mention the three Kage who couldn't stop them, even those fierce guards couldn't stop them. Saruto by Herzen was even more sure of the betrayal of the three great ninja villages, and he was glad that he had a backup plan. The battlefield was at empty. Mayaboku. If a fight broke out in Konoha, it would be hard to predict the outcome if several people rushed to help. As MT, Mayaboku became clearer and clearer. Saruto by Herzen was ready to fight. So what if Rasa is no one in the ninja world? The decades of experience of me and others are beyond your comparison. Luo Sha looked at Miyamu Mountain, which seemed to be coming at any time, and then at the Hokage and others who looked like they were planning everything, and said helplessly, "You guys are living well, but why can't you always think about it? I really think you can rely on a group of toads. Can you plot against me?" Saruto by Herzen said seriously, "Rasa, you want to replace the Sage of Six Paths and subvert the ninja world. Don't think that no one knows your ambition. We in Konoha are going to eliminate this heretic like you today. Okay, with our status, we don't need any high-sounding reasons to start a war. However, Saruto by Herzen, I have a message for you. You can't rely on others. I hope you will still be so tough when you see Toad Immortal and White Snake Immortal. Look, it's up to me whether I'm tough or not. Do you rely on others to be tough or not? Are you still an unreliable toad and an unreliable snake?" Saruto by Hiruzen stopped quarreling with Rasa because he found that Mayabokayama was stuck in a state of imminent immobility for a long time. According to the plan, MT. Mayamu should have arrived by now, but MT. Mayamu still stands there, as if it will appear in the next moment, but it will not come the next moment. Luo Sha took the lead and turned around to admire the frozen Mayamu mountain. So I said, it is true that you have the strength and you are counting on others to support you? Naruto, you overestimated Toad and White Snake and underestimated me. You know nothing about the power of the strong. Saruto by Hiruzen swallowed his saliva in disbelief, his voice already trembling. What did you do? What did I do? Luo Sha smiled. Do you think you are the only one who can plot against me? I can't plot against you. Since you have pinned all your hopes on Mayamu Mountain and Longni Cave, it's a pity that they can't plot against you either. I have to be able to help you. In Mayamu Mountain, Toad Immortal and White Snake Immortal were anxious. They could already see Konoha surrounding Rasa, but Mayamu Mountain's plan to come and devour them was stuck. The surrounding void is blocked! This is a 6th level method, and Luo Sha has indeed entered the 6th level. Jiraiya and Tsunade were very anxious. They led some Konoha ninjas to ambush Mount Mayaboku, preparing to cooperate inside and outside. As a result, Mount Mayaboku was now stuck. It's just that with the Konoha ninja outside, it's impossible to stop Rasa. Jiraiya said anxiously, Toad Immortal, why didn't you come? Get Rasa to Mayamu Mountain quickly. Toad Immortal shook his head weakly. Luo Sha has also entered the 6th level and blocked this void. Although we look very close to Luo Sha, we are actually in an infinitely faraway place. We can only wait until White Snake Immortal and I will meet, find the real location as soon as possible and come again. Toad Sage was even more anxious than Jiraiya, but there was nothing he could do. Luo Sha seems to be right in front of us, but in fact it is in a very distant place, and the spatial coordinates need to be repositioned. However, this time can be long or short, but it can be expected that the power of Konoha alone will never be able to stop Rasa. Pain nodded secretly, so it turned out that Luo Sha had already made arrangements and planned to defeat them individually. End of this chapter. Chapter 197. What else can you Konoha do besides reincarnation in filthy soil? Chapter 197. What else can you Konoha do besides reincarnation in filthy soil? Strength that has crossed over to the 6th level is already close to the essence of power. Time, space, life and death. Naruto could reverse Kai's life and death with the power of the 6 paths. After Rasa entered the 6th level, he also used the power of the 6 paths to cure Kimamero's blood disease and eliminate the Uchiha clan's blindness caused by overusing their eyes of sequely. Because Luo Sha's 6 levels are achieved through magnetic escape compared to the power of life and death, the operation of electromagnetic force and the power of space are stronger. As early as the moment Mayamu Mountain appeared, it was isolated from reality by countless spaces. It seems to be right in front of you, but it has actually been thrown far away. Saruto by Hiruzen and the others' hearts went cold. They never expected the changes in front of them. Mayamushin doesn't know what tricks Rasa has done to prevent it from coming, so now it can only rely on Konoha to deal with Rasa. But this difficulty looking at Luo Sha's calm smile again, I realized that everything was under his control. In fact, this move is not unsolvable. If it were a 6th Immortal, he could appear directly in front of Luo Sha. However, if Toad Immortal and White Snake Immortal appeared directly, their strength, which was rejected by the ninja world, would fall below the 6th level, which would be like being sent to Luo Sha to kill them. How could that be possible? In fact, Konoha has already tried to summon Toad Sage and White Snake Sage. However, they were directly rejected by the two. It was impossible for the two to deal with Luo Sha without being in Mayamu Mountain. Go! Saruto by Hiruzen gave up completely. In the current situation, there was no turning back. He had to bite the bullet even if he didn't want to. After repeatedly offending and scheming against Sunagakure village, reconciliation was no longer possible. You can only go according to the original plan. As soon as he finished speaking, Akimichi Tofeng and Kakashi took away Ikang, and the other took away Scorpion. Konoha F4 surrounded Rasa in the middle. The rest of the people in Sand Hidden Village were also surrounded. Luo Sha said, "Interesting, you still don't give up? If you surrender, I can consider keeping your whole body, but let you go, I better not think about it." Saruto Hiruzen said forcefully, "Kazekage, you may be very strong, but we in Konoha are not at your mercy. It seems like you have always been plotting against me, right? Ninjutsu, the art of 5 consecutive bullets." Saruto Hiruzen no longer chatted with Rasa, and the ninjutsu of 5 attributes attacked Rasa. Danzo Shimura showed his arm, and the Sharingan on it rotated, and a vine came out of the ground, locking Rasa firmly sand. After sleeping, Koharu shot out a poisonous Kyanbin. Mido Menyon used a burst of fog to hide the figures of the 4 people. Luo Sha used a little force to break away from the combined blow of the 4 people. With himself as the center, the repulsion force was activated, the fog instantly rolled back, the 5 consecutive bullets were shattered, and Dukayanben was directly broken. Sage Mode X4. The 4 people went straight to full strength. Wooden, the technique of the wooden man. Shimura Danzo used wood release. Thanks to his cultivation of Senjutsu, Hashirama's cells and Sharingan complemented each other. Not only did he practice Sharingan to 3 Magatama, but he could also use more wood release. The wooden man stood up from the ground. Several people stood on the wooden man and punched Luo Sha. Luo Sha waved his hand, and 4 golden Gundams rose up from the ground, blocking the wooden man's attack and surrounding him in the middle. Then he dropped his fist on the wooden man at the same time, directly hammering the wooden man to pieces, and then a Gundam chased one person. The 4 of them are also veteran cage-level masters with rich fighting experience. They have witnessed the battle between the first generation and Uchiha Madara many times. They thought they were familiar with Suzanu's battle, but it was completely different in the actual fight. Rasa's Gundam is stronger. Not only is it powerful in attack and defense, it also shoots floating cannons from its back, which can be used by several people from time to time. Several people were completely defenseless. Hiruzen, Sarutobi, and Danzo were fine. Mido Kaden and Koharu, one of whom was a perceptive ninja and the other a medical ninja, were unable to deal with the Gundam. Gundam seized the opportunity and flew away, then caught it in his hand. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo also struggled to avoid the Gundam's attack, and then went back to back, gasping for air. Even with the support of Fairy Mode, the cost of dealing with Luo Sha's Gundam is still too high. The important thing is that these people are no match at all. Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled bitterly. "I never expected that the 4 of us fighting side by side again would end up like this. Instead of killing everyone, we would have to die together." Shimura Danzo also smiled bitterly. "I always call myself the darkness of Konoha, this time because it seems that I am really going to bring Konoha into darkness. There's no need to say that. It's our mutual decision to deal with Luo Sha. You don't need to bear the blame, and you can't afford it." Yes, Danzo Shimura wouldn't mind dying if killing himself would make Rasa stop, but Rasa wouldn't let it go. Sighing, "Monkey, you have to fight to buy time for me. Miyamu Mountain and Longi Cave will come." Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded and summoned the monkey demon. Sensing Luo Sha's power, the monkey demon smiled bitterly and said, "Old man, this time it's really fatal. Sorry, let's go together." Transform the ape demon into a golden cudgel, which instantly grows in size and sweeps away the Gundam's attack. Shimura Danzo seized the opportunity and formed a seal, the art of reincarnation in dirty soil. Looking at the dozens of coffins growing densely together, "Are you digging up all the ancestral graves in Konoha? It's the reincarnation of the dirty land again. I said you Konoha will order anything else." Luo Sha was speechless. The good Hokage has become a legend of the living dead. As the coffin lid open, the first generation, the second generation, Maido Uzumaki, Shiitsaku Hadake, Kagami Uchiha, Shisui Uchiha, Fugaku Uchiha, Dankato Mat Dahan, Kushina Uzumaki, and some Rasa strong person whom I don't know. It is also Konoha's last trump card. However, these dead ninjas in Konoha did not take any further action. Their eyes were still blank when they opened the coffin, and they were not resurrected as planned. Shimura Danzo looked confused. Although his Earth reincarnation was not as skilled as Orochimaru's, it should be no problem. He had already tried it many times. Why aren't you moving? Luo Sha smiled and said, "Guess, I can prevent the arrival of Miyamu Mountain. But can I prevent the soul from leaving the Pure Land? I said you can't disturb the sleep of the deceased without any trouble. It is very immoral." Having already entered the Six Paths level and still has 20% of the Ninja World authority, Luo Sha can already prevent the activation of the reincarnation of the evil land. Although I am not afraid of these filthy people, it would be better to have less trouble. Saruto by Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo were really desperate, and their last trump card was directly scrapped. Is Rasa already so strong? Just when the two of them were in despair, the dull eyes of everyone in the dirty land gradually recovered. Luo Sha's eyes were cold and stern. Six Paths, you are really unwilling to give up, and you actually caused trouble for me. You want to help Konoha so much, but you show up on your own, a bunch of filthy dead people. Do you really think you can stop me? I have something to do. I'm sorry. End of this chapter. Chapter 198, The People Who Were Filthy. Chapter 198, The People Who Were Filthy. The situation of being bitten to death by ants will not happen to him, but the strength of these dirty land ninjas is infinitely close to that in life, not much worse than the first Hokage who was resurrected by Orochimaru in the Kirigakure village with the body of the leader of the Oniden clan Go. It's just a little worse than Uchiha Madara, who was resurrected as a sacrifice by Abido himself. Being able to do this can only explain one problem. Black Zetsu and Shimura Danzo reached an agreement. Only with the specially made white Zetsu as a carrier can the people of the dirty land be infinitely close to their original strength. The placer eyes swept over and the battlefield was clearly visible. Rasa glanced in the far north direction and spotted Uchiha Madara. It was shocking to find that Uchiha Madara was actually in a resurrected form, but Nagato was still alive next to him. He was not born in reincarnation and could not be the reincarnation of Sunagakure village, so only the sage talisman of MT. Mayaboku was left. That's right. Since we have reached an agreement with Konoha, it is not impossible to give Uchiha Madara Sage Talisman. No matter how precious a millennium is, it is enough to condense the second one. But it's a pity that even the resurrected Madara is no match for him if he has not entered the Six Paths level. The same goes for these filthy Konoha ninjas. Saruto by Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo were originally in despair, but suddenly everyone in the dirt opened their eyes and successfully resurrected. Senju Hashirama opened his eyes and said displeasedly, "Is this the reincarnation of the dirty land again? I have been disturbed by this technique one after another recently." Then he saw his brother who was also defiled. He gave Senju Tabarama a critical blow to the back of the head and cursed, "You brat, it's all the breaking ninjutsu you studied that disturbed the balance of life and death." Senju Tabarama was woken up all of a sudden. He glanced at the situation at the scene and frowned. "Brother, even if you teach me a lesson, you should also take a look at the current situation first. It seems that Konoha is at risk of life and death." Uzumaki Maido also opened his eyes. "Even I was resurrected and returned to my youthful state. I remember that the reincarnation of the dirty land should be the moment when I was resurrected before death." Uzumaki Maido died of old age, and he had also witnessed the reincarnation of the dirty earth. Normally, the dirty earth would return to the moment before death, but now he has returned to his youth. Naturally, it is the result of the specially made by Zetsu. Hadake Shiitsaku, Mat Dai, Uchiha Kagami, Uchiha Shisui, Uchiha Fugaku, Kato Dan, and Uzumaki Kushina all opened their eyes. Namikaze Minato was unable to channel because he was still in the stomach of the god of death. Except for those whose bodies could not be found in Konoha, basically countless strong men were resurrected. The remaining ones who were not resurrected were because Danzo had reached his limit. Otherwise, the dead heads of the major families would not be spared either. In addition, it is also because of the strong fighting power of these people. The people who were trapped in the dirty soil moved their bodies one after another. They knew that their village mastered the reincarnation of the dirty soil, but they didn't know that this technique would one day be used on themselves. Not only that, their bodies were not controlled at all and they had the greatest freedom. What they have to deal with is Rasa, and Danzo doesn't have the energy to control it. The fighting ability of these strong men is not weak, and only by allowing them to fight freely can they exert their strongest combat effectiveness. Senju Hashirama scanned around and found the sand ninja surrounded by Konoha, but Konoha's battle situation was not optimistic. Even with the help of Anbu, Kakashi himself could not restrain Scorpion at all, and the four major cage levels of Akimichi Tofeng and Ino Shikacho were no more than a tie with Yi Kang. Although there were only 3 of them, Maki, Yashimaru and Mamizu, they always suppressed Yamashiro Aoba, Tamashiro Rado, Moonlight Hayate, Shiranui Genma, and a group of Konoha ninjas who helped. There are also Konoha ninjas who were turned upside down by Gaara and others. Iburaim Shimi originally suppressed Temari and Kankuro, but now even Gaara didn't even take action. Temari threw a tornado, and the insects couldn't fly at all. Occasionally, a fish that slips through the net will be crushed by Gaara's sand. Kurenai Yuhai and Asuma also wanted to use Genjutsu to deal with Izumi Uchiha, but it was of no use, and they were beaten violently by Izumi, who opened Susanna. Inyuzuka Hana, who helped, was also locked in Phosphorus, as was the 3-headed wolf that transformed into a tailed beast. Hyuga Hizatsu is no match for Kimimaro at all. Kaiten and Jiujitsu go all out, but they are just inferior and may be defeated at any time. Zai Liuo and Kai fought back and forth, but they were also at a disadvantage. But what shocked Senju Hashirama the most was when did Konoha have so many cage-level experts? Although many of them were just entering the cage level, they were also genuine cage-level players. The patriarchs of the 6 major families were all cage level. At that time, Akimichi Taifeng was the only one who was extremely close to them. They were all quasi-cage level, and there were many ninjas I didn't know. There are more than 10 shadow-level experts present, which is very powerful. However, such a powerful force was actually suppressed and beaten by the ninjas of Sunagakure village throughout the whole process. This is simply incredible. Is Sunagakure village so strong? It seems that the person who defeated me last time was the Kasugage of Sunagakure village, but I understand that the Kasugage is strong. Are everyone so strong? A barren place like Sunagakure, there is also a rich natural energy between heaven and earth, which is several times higher than the last time he came out. He can transform into an immortal at any time. Speaking of sage transformation, if I read it correctly, many Konoha ninjas are in sage transformation. Isn't this technique difficult to master? It took me several months to do it back then, and after decades of running through the ninja world, I didn't see anyone get it for the second time. Is the world changing so fast, and why is the psychic contract between him and Shigulin no longer there? It can't be that Slug Immortal was killed. Rider, was he expelled from Sheik Forest because he died? The current precarious battlefield situation no longer allowed Senju Hashirama to think too much. He raised his head and looked at Luo Sha, wearing a Kasugage robe. It's been a long time coming, young man. The momentum is stronger than the last time we met. He couldn't beat him last time. Now I'm afraid he is not his opponent. I don't want to see you at all. Luo Sha responded. The battlefield was in the death forest of Konoha. It was obviously a siege against the Kasugage. It could be seen at a glance that it was Konoha's arrangement. However, once the war started, although he was committed to the peace of the ninja world. But the premise is that Konoha takes priority. Make a judgment in an instant. Tobirama, Sasuke, Mido, and I work together to assist Monkey against Kasuge Rasa. We all use our full strength. The opponent is very strong, and the others support other battlefields. Yes, XN. The dirty ninjas on the roof spread out to support each other. Senju Hashirama and the other 3 people surrounded Luo Sha and instantly entered the Sage mode by forming seals. The wooden man rose up to block the 2 Gundams summoned by Luo Sha. Mido Uzumaki used the 9 Tails chakra to condense a large tail to block a Gundam. A young man named Sasuke took the golden cudgel from Hiruzen Sarutobai's hand, blocked the last Gundam, and said to Hiruzen Sarutobai, "Hiruzen, you are really in a mess." Sarutobai Hiruzen actually cried for a moment. "Father, there are seals between the 1,000 Hands door." Illusion, darkness. Darkness instantly surrounded Luo Sha, and 1,000 Hands Tobirama used the Flying Thunder God technique to come to Luo Sha's side. Multiplying detonating talismans. End of this chapter. Chapter 199 The Changing Battle Situation. Chapter 199 The Changing Battle Situation, a technique that was once developed by Senju Tobirama and had no chance of being implemented. It requires self-sacrifice, an explosion that multiplies the detonating talisman, and a move that kills the enemy together. Thousands of detonating talismans exploded, and 1,000 Hands Tobirama was blown to rubbish and then reorganized. However, he did not lift the darkness. Senju Hashirama said in Pure Land and Tobirama that such an enemy was defeated head-on by Rasa, and such an enemy could not be defeated by the mutual detonation talisman. I heard that Luo Sha's ability was magnetic escape from gold, and I thought Luo Sha would use gold to resist it. However, in Senju Tabijian's unaffected sight, the aftermath of the explosion seemed to be choked by something where Luo Sha's punch was. Stop, no actual harm is done at all. The magnetic poles collided, sparkling with arcs of electricity, and then the huge force directly ejected several people, and the illusion of darkness was also broken. It's good, but it's not enough. Your opponent is not me. The cooperation of several people did not make Rasa take it seriously. With a raised hand, Gaara, who had been raiding the formation for Temari, and Keikiro and Kimimaro, who had just defeated Hinata Hinashi, were summoned to the front. Gaara and Kimimaro, let me give you a chance. Although you are in a dirty state, the legendary ninja is enough for you. Gaara nodded. Just do whatever his father wants. Kimimaro was different. The Hyuga Hinashi who faced him was too weak. Even though he was of the same bloodline as the 6 Paths, he was also good at close combat. The attack and defense of Soft Fist were no match for Kimimaro's blood. The first Hokage Senju Hashirama and the second Hokage Senju Tobirama are pretty much their opponents. Gaara, the first and second generation, are mine. After saying that, regardless of whether Gaara agreed or not, the blood of the corpse vein completely exploded, and he instantly entered the Senjutsu mode. He pulled out his spine and turned it into a spear, split the battlefield into 2, and took away Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama. Gaara shook his head. Forget it. Uzumaki Mido is not a perfect Jinchuriki. In the first 3 ninja wars, he controlled the complete 9 Tails battle and was very powerful. Although there is not much information about Sarutobi Sasuke, it is said that he is a strong man recognized by both the first Hokage and the second Hokage. It's time for me to use my full strength. Instantly summoning Shukaku's chakra and mixing it with his own, his whole body glowed golden, as if he was wearing a layer of golden light clothing, which was very similar to the way Naruto and Kyuubi reached a perfect state in the plot. The 4 of them were angry at Rasa's arrogance at first, especially Senju Hashirama. I admit that I couldn't beat you, but even if I couldn't beat you last time, it wasn't that big of a difference. The gap between himself and Rasa is also the gap between himself and Uchiha Madara. So you actually let 2 children deal with me so arrogantly? In Senju Hashirama's understanding, reaching the limit of strength in life is already the limit. Even if you, Luo Sha, have made progress in the past few years, it will be like this, but now you let the juniors humiliate them. However, Senju Hashirama did not underestimate the enemy. He turned on Kimamero's senjutsu mode, and his strength was definitely not weak. However, there are differences in the magic mode. Instantly turning on the magic mode to its strongest level, the wooden figure turned into a giant Buddha, and Kimamero grasped the huge palm in his hand. However, the next moment, Senju Hashirama looked shocked. The big hand holding Kimamero was shattered. Wood chips flew everywhere. Kimamero stepped on the arm of the big Buddha and faced it upward. Wherever the bone spear scratched, the arm of the big Buddha was directly hit. Shattered. The strength of this chakra is not weaker than that of Luo Sha, who fought against him last time. No wonder Luo Sha dared to let him deal with him. When did the Jutori clan's corpse veins become so strong? How many years ago? The ninja world has changed a lot. He once had an invincible wood escape, beat up Madara Uchiha, and sealed the tailed beast, but now he was defeated one after another. Increasing the input of chakra again, the hands behind him turned into thousands, and countless arms fell down, finally stopping Kimamero and punching him into the ground. Senju Tabarama once again used the flying thunder god to come nearby and used the mutual detonation talisman. The violent explosion and flames engulfed Kimamero. Maido Uzumaki and Sasuke Sarutobi also erupted instantly. Maido Uzumaki used the chakra of the 9 tails and wrapped himself in a tailed beast coat, while Sarutobi Sasuke held the golden cudgel of the monkey demon incarnation. A series of taijutsu attacks blocked Gaara. Gaara performed the 7-day breathing technique, jumped back to distance himself, and raised his hand to condense hundreds of sand gold swords in the sky, which then fell like raindrops. Sasuke Sarutobi swung the golden cudgel airtightly and flicked the sand gold sword away with a clang. At this time, Uzumaki Maido condensed 9-tailed beast jade and attacked Gaara one after another. Gaara also condensed a huge-tailed beast jade, which offset Maido Uzumaki's 9-tailed beast jade. There was a violent explosion. However, 8 diamond chains stretched out from the smoke and stretched directly into Gaara's belly. Uzumaki Maido said earnestly, "Young man, you know that I am from the Uzumaki clan. How dare you fight me as a Jinchuriki? Even the 9 tails made me suppress them and obey them, let alone you." The 1 tail says the 4 suppressed Kimamero and Gaara. The remaining people began to support other battlefields as appropriate. Hadake Shigesaku looked at his son, who was in a bitter fight, and stepped forward to join the battle against Scorpion. Seeing that his old friend Akimichi Typhon could not defeat Yi Kang with the help of the heads of the 3 clansmen of the pig, deer, and butterflies, Uchiha Kagami chose to help Akimichi Typhon. Kato Dan chooses to help Yamashiro Aoba against Maki, Ashimaru, and Mamizu. Matai went to help his disadvantaged son against Sai Luo. Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Shisui went to help fight Karin, Haku, Uchiha Izumi, and Temari and Keikiro respectively. The remaining Uzumaki Kushina suddenly received the message that left her mind. Her face changed several times. She turned around and punched Sarutobi Hiruzen in the face, and punched Shimura Danzo in the face. "We will settle the accounts about my son later." Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo seemed to have eaten, but they couldn't resist. The information received by the mind overlapped with the real body at this moment, but then Kushina ran into trouble. She was not a native of Konoha, although she once recognized the will of fire. But with what Naruto has experienced over the years, he now has complicated feelings towards Konoha. In addition, Naruto was able to see his wife, thanks to Rasa's help. He had just reached a consensus with Kyuubi with the help of Gaara, and now she was unwilling to ask her to help Konoha fight against Sunagakure village. Then I saw Naruto's figure in the crowd, and he didn't care so much. Since he was in a dilemma, he decided not to help each other for the time being. Jumped in Naruto's direction. The originally one-sided situation on the battlefield began to turn upside down with the addition of the reincarnated army of the dirty soil. The three shadows on the side were also a little unable to sit still. Tsuchikage Anoki said anxiously, "Everyone? Why don't we take action? If we don't take action, I'm afraid the situation will change. Those are the first Hokage and others, and if we don't take action, if we win, how will we be viewed afterwards?" End of this chapter. Chapter 200 Konoha is too happy too early. Chapter 200 Konoha is too happy too early. I knew I couldn't trust Konoha. The art of sealing the filthy soil and reincarnating it. This kind of ninjutsu shouldn't exist in the world. Terumi and AI couldn't sit still, and the originally good situation was reversed. They did not deny the power of Luo Sha, but Luo Sha's subordinates were facing legendary masters. Can't wait any longer. The three people and the guards behind them stood up one after another. The second tail, fifth tail, sixth tail, and eighth tail instantly entered the half-tailed beast form, obviously intending to intervene directly with the strongest strength. The Konoha ninjas responsible for guarding did not stop them, and directly used the four purple flame formation in a group of four. The barrier set up by the four elite Jonin can block the cage level, but blocking 2 cage levels is already the limit. There are more than a dozen cage levels present, and the 3 cages do not need to take action. The 4-tailed beasts directly block the 4 cage levels. The purple flame formation exploded into pieces. Just when a few people wanted to provide further support, a more powerful red barrier rose up. It was a 4 red sun formation formed by Koharu, Maido Kaden, Saruto Bayasuma, and Kiranai Yuhai. Someone raided the formation, and the offensive and defensive positions on the field changed. Seeing that the 3 shadows and their guards wanted to support, the 4 people immediately used the 4 red sun formation that could only be used by the shadow level, successfully blocked the 3 shadows and Jinchuriki from outside. The tailed beast Jade, Chendun, Lei-dun, and Fei-dun hit the 4 red sun formation one after another. Although the 4 red sun formation shook for a while, it was obviously not possible to break through it in a short time. After all, it was the barrier ninjutsu that stopped the 10 tails. Like everyone else, Maya-Amashin is also anxious. Toad Sage and White Snake Sage were anxiously looking for the true location of Konoha village. They were anxious at first because Konoha was in danger, but now they are even more anxious. What a great situation. As long as Mayabokayama joins in, they will definitely kill Rasadai. Pain was anxious whether he should help Luo Sha in this situation. Tsunade looked at the figure of her former lover Kato Dan with complicated eyes. Not only Duin, Grandpa, Grandma, but also the second grandpa were reincarnated by the damn filthy soil. Su assisted Yamashiro Ayaba, Mizuchi Rado, Shiranui Gemma, and Moonlight Hayate to besiege Maki, Mamizu, and Yashimaru. At this time, Kato Dan is in the state of his soul, which is his signature spiritual transformation technique. Compared with before, I had to worry about the destruction of the body and the impact on the fighting ability of the soul. Now it is more convenient, since I am in an immortal state anyway. Kato Dan observed that the 3 of them were vaguely headed by Maki, with Haikuzu controlling the clay puppet to assist, and Yashimaru controlling hundreds of kunai for last-ditch attacks. They beat Yamashiro Ayaba and others back steadily. The original strength of several people was between special Jounin and elite Jounin. Even if they practiced Senjutsu, they could not reach the shadow level. Because of Mount Mayaboku's sacrifice, the 4 of them barely entered the shadow level. But it's just the most basic shadow level, and it's no match for Majai and others. Even with the large number of people and the cooperation of other Konoha ninjas, they did not gain the upper hand. Even Majai and others still had the energy to chat. Maki continuously used wind cutters to push back the crowd, and Centipede used the continuous explosion of earth puppets to push back the other besiegers. The fish that slipped through the net were harvested by the kunai controlled by Yashimaru. Ma Jai said, "It's almost enough." If we continue to play and fight, Konoha really thinks that he is so great, and those who deal with us are just trivial things. He looks down on the three of us too much. Beizu said, "Isn't there a Kododan floating in the sky? That one is famous." Yashimaru said, "It's better to hurry up. After all, Konoha is just an appetizer. The real highlight is later." Yashimaru gestured to empty Mayaboku that seemed to be coming at any moment in the air. Several people nodded and instantly turned on the magic mode. Majai put on the wind coat, and each of his two palms produced a powerful tornado. After throwing it out, it formed a huge tornado, which instantly swept through Xianshan Cheng Aaba and others. The four of them had no choice but to dodge when they saw this huge tornado. In fact, the strength of the four of them is not weak, but they are restrained. Both Bingzu Leidong and Moonlight Hate are masters of physical skills, but the three of them didn't give them a chance to attack at all. There is no chance for the two of them to use their sword skills. Even if you occasionally rush forward, you don't know whether you are cutting a puppet or a person. There are even flying kunai ready to fall from the sky at any time. The tornado killed most of the crows in Aaba, a mountain town. The four of them were not talented enough and did not all master the magic mode. Maya Mushin also did not master the fairy mode. After Majai turned on the fairy mode, they instantly began to fall into a disadvantage. The only one who has mastered the Senjutsu mode is Shiranui Genma. At this time, Kato Dan said, "You try your best to attack, and I will help you deal with one of them." The four of them were overjoyed when they heard this. If they could solve one, they could continue to solve the other. After all, Kato Dan's spiritual transformation technique could not be captured and could directly destroy people's spiritual world. Shiranui Genma immediately entered Sage mode and spit out the senbon on his mouth, which then split into countless senbons. Immortal method, Kyan Bonsame. Thousands of books carrying magical chakra fell densely. Marky immediately controlled the tornado to fight. Immortal magic, tornado. From the collision of Senjutsu chakra, the tornado instantly gained the upper hand and swept Senbon Same down. At this time, Kato Dan's soul seized the opportunity and passed through the tornado. The state of the soul was not affected much, and it directly entered Maki's body. Although Mamizu and Yashimaru saw it and blocked it with kunai and clay dolls, they were unable to stop the soul-turned Kato Dan. Then Marky lowered his head and stopped moving. His eyes gradually dimmed. Shiranui Genma said, "Give up. Mr. Dan's spiritual transformation technique cannot be defended at all. Now Maki's soul has been killed." Beizu angrily condensed more than 10 clay puppets. Don't curse people's death casually, and don't underestimate Master Magi. So what about the spiritual transformation technique? I don't believe that Magi's soul will be lost to Kato Dan. The clay puppets exploded one after another, mixed with poisoned iron filings. Without the four people noticing, they all lost their jobs, and the toxins accumulated since the battle filled their bodies. Even Shiranui Genma, who had turned on the Sage mode, was unable to resist, let alone the Konoha ninja who had just followed the siege. Anyone who was hit by the attack lost their ability to fight. 4 people fell down one after another in despair. "Mr. Duan, you should be faster." As if he heard the shouts of several people, Kato Dan flew out. To be precise, he was driven out, and fell out of Ma Jai's body in a dejected manner. Kato was defeated. Although he succeeded in invading Ma Jai's body with full confidence, he underestimated the strength of Ma Jai's soul, which is not what it was decades ago. Ma Jai practiced life return and was blessed by Ziyuan. As a goddess, Ziyuan's divine power is the soul, so Ma Jai's soul is extremely strong. It was not something Kato Dan could resist at all. He thought he could easily kill Ma Jai in the soul world, but with almost a face-to-face encounter, Kato Dan's soul was seriously injured, and the shock came out of Ma Jai's soul world. End of this chapter. Alright legends, that's it for today. If you're ready for the next chapter, smash that like button and flood the comments right now. Remember, we've got 3 days to prove this story needs to continue. Subscribe so you don't miss the drop, and I'll meet you in the next audiobook.